Why don't we go ahead and get going? I have 12 o'clock on the nose. And this is the June 20th TAC meeting where we're going to conduct applicant interviews for funding. And the first one, well, I guess I'll step back. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about before we get into interviews? Oh, okay.
Thanks for asking.
Do we do conflicts at this one or do we do conflicts at the? Okay, all right. So we've got 11 applicants today. Does anybody have any conflicts, any of the events or applicants?
I don't know that I have a conflict, but I do print swag bags for Blush Lux and for wow.
Okay,
I don't know if that's an issue or not. We'll see if it comes up there.
Okay.
If it is, I'll recuse.
all right.
We have participated in some of the Savor Cannon Beach events. The last one, I'll mention this again when we get into discussions of it, but we happen to profit greatly from that event because one element of that took place on our premises.
So you were a site location.
There was a
for-
site location for that.
Okay.
And we discovered that it had a huge impact
Okay.
on our business that day.
All right,
I don't actually consider it a conflict in discussing their merits, but just as a transparent
okay.
disclosure.
Well, I feel the same way with the wine shack. We are a site location for Savor. The Friday presentations, I think, for 2021 were conducted at the wine shack. And I gave those presentations. And then in 2022, we will be a site location, but we're not going to give presentations. They're just going to be pourings at our place. And then we also did an event on Saturdays, and I think we're going to do the same thing with winemaker events. So we are a site location for Savor.
Great.
Any,
No.
okay, Julie?
No conflicts.
And then when the Gregs come in, we'll ask them those questions as well. All right. Okay, let's move into the interviews. I see our representatives from the Cannon Beach History Center are here. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I know it's a little bit early. It's 12:05, but
Yeah, absolutely.
welcome.
I put this in the wrong order. How did my history? Where's my history center? History center, here we go.
No, mine got all messed up.
Yeah, I messed up. I was reading them and I
Here they are.
set them all down. Okay. Yep.
Sorry. The new one.
Welcome, ladies.
Thanks. What's up?
Could you introduce yourselves for us, please?
I'm Liz, formerly Johnson, got married. I'm the outreach coordinator at the museum. I was there for about 7 years, left for a couple of years, and I'm back, so good to be back.
I'm Kelly Maurer. I'm on the board and the board treasurer at the museum. I've been, I guess, for over a year now.
And I'm Deanna Duquesne. I'm the development coordinator
I'm grant writer.
and grant.
My name is Andrea Suarez Kemp. I'm the museum manager and I've been there for 4 years. And now I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we've read the submission. If you want to walk through it with us and talk to us about it, we're going to ask you some questions.
Okay. You guys want me to do that? I'll start it off. Yeah, you guys just jump in.
Yeah.
So next year is going to be our 20th anniversary. So that's a pretty exciting time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is for 2023. That's right.
Yeah, that's a little confusing because I'm in this year and next year too. But anyway, we're real excited about the 20th anniversary. We already have some really good news. Maybe Liz, you want to talk about the Oswald house?
Yeah, the owners of the historic Oswald West House have agreed to be on for next year, so we have some hopeful ideas for next year, to make it a long weekend. Potentially have, you know, a good amount of homes for Saturday, and then have them be the featured house on Sunday. And have it be almost kind of like a ticketed, a timed event, kind of like Disneyland, where you purchase time slot and you go in. So that's kind of the hope, and the owners are completely on board with that. So
When was the last time that house was part of?
It was actually on the virtual tour. She agreed to be part of our virtual tour. So that was last year, I think, right? Yes, last
Mhm.
year, 2021, September 2021. And they were really supportive. Even in this year, they reached out to us before we even got the chance to reach out to them, which was really exciting for us.
Are they participants in the National Historic Site? Are they registered as,
They are.
they are?
yes.
Yeah, does that mean they
Which
have to
involves-
open once a year?
No.
Okay, no,
Historic, Oregon Historic or National Historic decided that they were not gonna have.
that went away.
They
Okay.
were not requiring.
They used to.
They used to, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Be in the paper that, oh, today was the day and yeah.
It was, so, but yeah, they're super excited to be a part for next year and support in any way that they can, so.
So if it was virtual last year, when was the last time that it was
I believe
open for
17.
2017? Because I knew it's,
Yeah, they wanted to be on this year, but we're not touring that area,
Okay.
which I was like, oh,
I know.
I'd love to. but
I like that you're making that a separate ticketed event on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Kind of pushing the tea back a bit, so people will have to stay late a little bit later, and then we'll stay into Monday, and make it just like a whole longer weekend. So we had talked originally about doing like homes on Saturday and then a lot of homes on Sunday, but we're like, wow, you know, Oswald West House is just such a feature on its own that I think that would excite people
Sure.
and want people to stay for a longer weekend.
Good job with that.
Good job.
And the event itself will begin on Friday night. What we're doing this year and based on its success next year, hopefully, is have an opening night benefit bash at the museum. So we got to throw the doors open and invite people in and let them see the exhibits and be inside the museum and have different events and a silent auction going on. So we're reaching out to a lot of people in the community to donate to that. And then Saturday,
Oswald West actually was thinking of donating type of high-end silent auction item, kind of like an evening in the house type of idea, like sunset at the governor's. And, you know, because since we couldn't feature their house this year, we were like, we'd still love for you to participate. And so they're actually discussing that now, but that's really exciting.
That is.
I would bid on that. You know, I would definitely bid on something like that.
Especially since Warren Buffett's at the bar now. Glide Foundation gets a $19 million input by selling lunch with Warren Buffett.
oh my goodness,
Benefits them.
we need to get him over
Yeah.
here.
Lunch with Jim Kingwell.
I know we don't know the 2022 attendance. We had almost 700 in 2019.
Yeah.
You think we're gonna,
I hope so.
feeling we're gonna be higher than that?
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, we're on track with all of our marketing and trying to find new ways to market, and
You have enough people?
people are really anxious for things that are in person and really excited about being able to come back. So I'm very optimistic, but I can't predict totally.
I feel optimistic too, because this has been a year where we've got our biggest homeowner response in the affirmative. We actually had to tell people like, oh, we're capping off, it's too many houses, you know, which is a great problem to have. And then I've gotten phone calls starting in March, when we opened, people asking, is cottage tour on? Because I'm booking my hotel right now. And I'm like, yes. Oh, it's finally back. We planned our whole year about it. We're coming, we're booking our hotel now. So I know that there is excitement, especially from the people who previously come on the tour. And with Liz Scott back and her having that, she has such a personal, she can pull names right off the top of her head. I think we'll get a lot of new people along with like the old people who have been on the tour before. I think we'll also get a lot of new people. I feel optimistic about it.
We see your advertising budget for 20.
Yeah.
It's too early to get the responses from those. In years past, you've been able to supply data on the response to each individual event. That's always been very helpful information because we found that we had some assumptions early about the effectiveness of those, but at least my assumptions were wrong until the data came in. So it'd be nice if when the next report comes in for the 22 event, if there's a chance of getting that information. It's been helpful to the committee before.
Definitely.
Yeah, we track each, and we ask them how they heard about the event. Are they staying in town? Where are they staying at? How many nights? We're able to track that each individual ticket sale.
I noticed you guys had Irvington home tours. Is that been an effective source? And I guess my question is, have you looked at others as Ainsworth or other areas that do home tours?
Yeah, we have in the past, it's been pretty successful. In fact, we've actually attended here for other home tours. So the Irvington home tour, the mid-century modern home tour, we volunteered and went on to see how their attendance, how to see, kind of get ideas as well. And it seemed as well with advertising the Irvington home tour, it was really successful, and it made sense to tour. So
I appreciate your breakout of data as an answer to question 4 with the 2.83 average stay and the number of nights. It helps when you have ticketed sales that you can track that and ask those questions and get specific data. I have a question on your answer to question 10. What is your marketing plan? You say the silver lining of being closed for 2 years is our social media presence has blossomed. That's one thing that we had talked to you guys about in the past. Could you talk to that sentence and tell us kind of what you're doing?
So specifically for social media is something that I've taken on as
Okay.
manager, and it was just the number one thing that I knew to do when we were closed for 2 years. And because of that, it really has our reach sometimes just from locally sharing. One Tilly Tuesday post reached 239,000 people, and Kyle Gannon can attest to that. Like, we were blown away, give me goosebumps. I was like, I can't believe that. And even if half of those are bots, like that's still a lot of reach for one Facebook post about the lighthouse, so we're really tapping into that. We're getting, now that we've opened again, we're building this social media following, because the new paperwork, when you walk into the museum, says, where'd you hear about us? Do you want to keep in contact with us? Give us your email, follow us on social media. People ask us, do you guys have t-shirts yet? When's the cottage tour? And I'm like, follow our Facebook. We announce everything on Facebook. We're getting at least like 50 to 100 new follows every 2 weeks. I mean, we're doing pretty well on that front. And then the Flashback Friday newsletter, which is usually for members, we have expanded it to include people who have visited the museum and leave us their emails. And then I see when they send it to someone else and then they subscribe to us, and it's contagious on the internet. That's just the best way I can describe it. It's been an incredible microphone for us. So the moment we're saying cottage tour is on, people are calling, when are tickets? What are the way? What are the days? We're going. And just by a post, just by putting a post online, and I think I've gotten really good at it. And with you guys joining my team, I've been able to hone in on those skills and work with the programs that Liz is also working on too. So that marketing alone has just been invaluable. I can't even put a value on that. I mean, I paid like $15 to boost a post and we got like another 7,000 hits, like $15. Like, that's amazing.
Good spend.
Yeah, and then I see the same day, 5 new subscriptions to our Flashback Friday newsletter. It's incredible because everything's so streamlined. You can see what's connected to what. And yeah, like I'll post about Tilly and we get like 5 more subscriptions or, 2 more purchases on our gift shop and 3 more people become members. And so it's really been, then the social media has been really cool.
So with marketing plan, who are you targeting? What does your customer look like? What are the demographics of your customer? Because I know what I have right here, I have a preconception of what your customer is, but really tell me who your customer is. Because that could dictate, the social media platforms.
Absolutely.
So what does your customer look like?
I would say our customers are a healthy mix of what our volunteers are like, they are on the more elderly side. But I noticed that when we went digital, we got a lot more on the young side, which is just interesting because as you said, the social media aspect of this could hinder people, but I think so many people are becoming tech savvy or at least have a Facebook. And so some, like you set on those notifications and it'll hit them. So even though our demographic is more on the elderly side of the population, I think we are reaching more people and making it more accessible to like all ages because of social media. And then, we are still sending the brochures, the postcards, all that paper goods, snail mail stuff that they love to get. We still get a lot of hits from that as well. And that's usually from people who are on the elderly side and who have been on the tour before, and they come out here, spend 3 nights at least, because they have the time to do that. They are retired. They are, available for these things in September where everybody's going back to school. They're coming out to the beach to do a home tour. And so I think it is interesting. I think.
Right.
That's our biggest demographic.
So Facebook's a good platform for them, right?
It's not
You
been,
mentioned younger, you're getting some younger. Are you on Instagram as well? And what do those responses look like? What's the interaction off Instagram?
that's a lot of locals, which I love, a lot of people support people on Instagram younger are on the younger side and a lot of responses and hits and it's not as big as my Facebook following right now. So I am boosting
Trying to build
at
that.
the same time, but I mean, Facebook is just a descendants of people who I'm posting
Sure.
old photos of. And I know that they are definitely on the older side if they're saying that they're related to this method. And, I think with Instagram, we definitely reached a younger demographic and it's more acceptable, like artists. Oh, can you send me this print? I would love to use it for, and Oregon film trails, they have like a film trail plaque over in Ecola State Park that tells you all the movies that have been filmed over there. They are really active on our Instagram, always writing to us, saying things and it's a lot of support and a lot of sharing, but I think Facebook is definitely like our bigger one for right now. As I keep linking everything together, I think they'll start, but nobody's going to make an Instagram just to follow us. We kind of just like already go after the people who have the Instagram and then they share with them. And that sharing is just really valuable.
It's something that I wanted to kind of talk about. You said the linking. And when you mentioned that, I was thinking about the chamber. The chamber has the hashtag experience Cannon Beach. I don't know if you tag with that, but because then it pops up on their photo gallery on their website as well. So that might be something for you to think about using. I don't know if you've been using it.
I haven't, so thank you.
Hashtag experience Cannon Beach.
Awesome, love that.
That will help you multiply.
Yeah, a lot of people just love to see their photographs on our page too, so they tag us and I'm like, I can never see Haystack Rock enough, I'll share all the Haystack Rock pictures and Yeah, Experience Cannon Beach. Thank you for that, because that's gonna open up a little.
Tickets go on sale for this one?
July 1st. I knew I'd seen that somewhere, but
That's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
We're actually ready. We're ready. We're definitely ready to
Good.
go.
So the city purchased Cannon Beach Elementary a while back, I'll just say. And they're wondering if there's any possibility of a tie-in between your event and the property, the Cannon Beach Elementary property. If there's any possibility of,
yeah, for sure. I think we could do the tea there and a lecture and have a, have a nice event there for the cottage tour. Absolutely.
okay.
If not this year, because we have solidified all the things, and that would be a really cool thing to bring out for 20th, like we're really trying to make the 20th like.
I don't think they're ready for you. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing. And just seeing the property as it is now, like if we're only going up from there, absolutely. Like we would love to be involved.
The city might be ready for input on what would be a useful attribute to facilitate any programs you could envision in the future. Because there's the huge question whether to save or wipe out the classrooms
Right.
to start with a complete
Obviously.
project idea versus a remodel being included in whatever is built there.
I think I picked up that paperwork when they had that little meet and greet out there. So we'll have to check it out as a team and maybe come up with some ideas.
Do you have anything else for us?
We're just excited to be back. We're so excited to be back. We appreciate any and all support. We couldn't do this without our community around us. That's something that we're really trying to get back to this year, just like making it more community oriented. We're about to submit an application to use Madison Park because we got the home right across the street from Madison Park. And then I've got friends from the North Coast Land Conservancy that I want to come out and talk with us about gardening with, because it's a cottage and garden tour, gardening with native species, plant species. And then for the history side, we've got the metal detector people coming out that we're really excited. We're just so excited to be back. We're briefing it up. We want it to be like a weekend full of events to do, like Saturday, just full of things to do. And we just appreciate that you guys would meet with us and show us any kind of support.
So as you've been out in the business community, talking to businesses about sponsorships and donations, what kind of response have you received from the business community here in town?
Excellent.
Really?
It's been excellent.
That's great.
Huge support, especially after not having it technically for 2 years. It's been incredible. Our sponsorships have been really well received, and donations. Excellent. The response has been wonderful.
I don't have any other questions. Great. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Patrick, great timing.
You know how to make an entrance.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up as soon as I'm done here.
Okay.
And Tony and Jack are planning to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome's next. Oh, cook fingers next.
Bye, thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Ready for me?
That event is just coming along, and it's great to see some new blood.
Yep.
The event is
New blood.
ideas,
The old.
I do miss the old blood. Elaine was.
right? Then you get new ideas and
Yeah.
It's true.
I became aware of their Instagram when Rachel and Rebecca at Sleeping Monk reposted something that they had, and I was like, I didn't even know they had an Instagram. And I was like,
They could, if about tax funding,
more of that
most are advertising.
out there.
good.
They've been pretty.
All of it,
Good, good.
15,000 of it goes to.
I don't follow it, so I'm gonna have to jump on and
I
find.
know, yeah, it seems like there's kind of a group that you really kind of repost a lot of,
They've actually, Jim,
feed off each other in that way.
worked for that particular event.
It has.
Print advertising.
Right,
Can't argue with
You
you.
can't.
Patrick's here with us and I understand Jenny's going to call in.
Hopefully, she's on the road. She just texted me and said she's gonna try to join us, but I don't know if we need to wait for her necessarily.
That's your call. I don't think.
I don't think so. I mean, I just like her presence. She has a certain expertise I lack, but I think I can probably cover it if
Okay.
she doesn't join us. Might be her right there. No, that's just your camera.
Well, we've received your submission and we've read through it. Why don't you walk through it a little bit and we'll ask questions as they come
Well,
up.
basically, we're kind of asking for the same thing we asked for last year, which was some money to cover a monthly concert to celebrate our 50th. We ended up doing February, March, April, May, June. And I hope to do September, October, November, December. Again, just as a celebration of our 50th, offer this monthly concert. And then in addition, then we have I had hoped to offer Pink Martini in this last cycle, but because of COVID and just some booking issues, and if I bring Pink Martini, I really wanted to bring them to a full house capacity with no masks and really have it be a party. And that didn't look like that was going to be working for this past April. So instead, I brought in Curtis Salgado, which was a very successful concert and I thought worked really well. So I have spoken with Pink Martini and they are committed now to April 1st of 2023. So that's the other part of the ask is one special event in 2023, a large one with Pink Martini. And then, of course, we're also asking for marketing in addition to the cost of the special events.
They sell out the Playhouse, don't they? Pink Martini, it must.
They'll sell out. It's pretty sure.
In 3
Yeah, we'll just do one. We're gonna do probably a tiered seating. So some very, very expensive seats down in the front and then tier it up so that
VIP.
exactly, and super expensive. And then up towards the back and the sides and whatever, then it'll be more seats that are more likely to be used for people who don't have that kind of income. I also am hoping we're having our birthday party and I'm sorry I didn't bring any invitations. Please, you're all welcome. Please come to our birthday party on Wednesday, the 29th. And we'll be doing a silent auction drawing. And part of the silent auction is I'm going to be auctioning off tickets to Pink Martini.
Oh, you're gonna be auctioning off those.
Some front row tickets to Pink Martini. Yeah.
Will you be doing a rollout? I remember when we were talking about doing this for last year, which didn't happen. You guys were talking about rolling it, like announcing it sort of in Portland first to try and keep the locals from selling it out.
Yeah.
That's what usually happens.
And what we would do is we would set a certain amount of seats aside specifically for people from out of the town.
Gotcha.
Make those available. I did do some experimenting. I think I mentioned it in my grant last year. I did some experimentation this year with offering a discount to people who were staying at a Cannon Beach hotel, vacation rental, or RV park. And I offered them a 2-for-1 ticket to the event. And that was for the 4 events that the TAF people that you guys sponsored. I got very, very little response on that. I got a few people, but I think I might continue to do that. And that would be part of that, making it available to people ahead of time.
So Patrick, when I estimate 200 seats and $28,000 all in for break even is $140 ticket price.
Pink Martini runs, the total amount for them is about $35,000 for the cost of the band, the hotel, the food, all the other extra things. I don't know if you've ever booked a band before, but the bigger the band, the bigger the thing called the rider.
Yeah.
And the rider, I have to go through the rider and say, no, we don't have that. Sorry. No, we don't have that. Sorry, kind of thing. Because it's a very, very demanding rider. But they're just, to be perfectly honest, they've grown a little too big for the Coaster Theater.
Right.
in that respect, but they're still willing to come down and do it. And they're willing to work with me, recognizing that I cannot fulfill all of these aspects of the rider. There's a certain kind of, because I think the history of them coming down.
You can get them green M&Ms, but not some. I guess actually.
The budget submitted just says 28,000. Unless I'm missing something.
Uh,
22 for the band and tech, 3,500 hospitality, 1,500 marketing promotion. Totaling 28,000.
28K. Hospitality, 4,500, marketing, yeah, 6. 28.
But so my question was $140 a ticket is your break even point. Is this a fundraiser? Is this a loss leader?
The ticket sales usually serve as a fundraiser because you guys have covered it. But I'm looking at that. That doesn't seem right to me. I wonder if we missed I wonder if we grabbed the wrong budget. Because I had told Jenny that we needed to pop it up.
It does say 21 on it. Was it last year's?
I'm wondering if we accidentally grabbed last year, because I had a conversation with her. I said, we need to jump up all of the costs of Pink Martini. I said, because,
28K.
Adopted November.
no, I guess,
April 2023.
Yeah, it's right there on the.
no, this is about right. So I guess maybe I'm overestimating my 35,000. Their cost is about, 15 to 20,000 for just the band, just the artists themselves. Hospitality,
Is that the hotel?
that's the hotel and
$500.
and food. We cater them. We provide catering in-house as well as we send them out to a restaurant and give them a meal. But no, actually, these are the figures that Jen and I discussed. So I'm a little off with my $35,000 estimate.
That's fine. So I guess where I was going with that, if the break even ticket price is $140, is that, because I think last time they were like $75.
We did 75. We realized we can go as high as 100, but what we're planning to do is like the first 5 rows, they're going to be like $200, $300. And then we're going to move that. Then the next group is maybe 200, then 100. Then we'll have some 50s or 75s up in the side. That's how we're planning to break it down. But the average, yeah, you're probably right. The average would be about 140 per ticket.
Okay.
Is it 200 seats or 187?
198.
198. Okay.
Yeah, but I can sneak a few more in. I have a couple little side seats, some things like that.
Up above in the rafter.
Exactly, yeah.
Hanging from the raft,
Yeah, we'll just hang some.
hanging from the lights.
Accommodate wheelchairs, right, Patrick?
We do, yes.
Hang on.
Yeah, we have 4 seats that can actually be removed
How to game.
out of the way.
Or people will look.
So so that is Pink Martini. You have the 4 other concerts that you're planning, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any idea of,
I'm hoping September will be Patrick Lamb.
Okay.
October, I've got Adams and Costello. And then I've got Lauren Kinnan coming in for the holiday. I don't have anybody yet for October.
okay,
Maybe we get Kiss to play.
Did I get that right? I thought you had Adams and Costello in October. Is that November?
Oh, did I say? Hold on 1 second, I can tell you. Maybe they are, I think they're October, so maybe it's November is the month that I'm still looking for.
November concerts usually right around stormy weather, correct?
This one would be the week after stormy weather. Yeah, so so the chamber will typically do something. And I hope they do this year. They'll do some sort of event that first weekend.
Okay.
And this one, though, I'm looking to November 12th, and it is November that I don't have anybody assigned yet.
Right.
you have anything else for us?
No, not really, unless you have some questions that I can possibly
So
answer.
I have a question of a different topic.
Uh-huh.
The city of Cannon Beach, as you know, has purchased the elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and they are asking us to ask each of the applicants if there's any way that you see you could use that space there to have an event.
Oh, I can think of many, many ways I could use it. One, it could serve as the rain out. If I have an event in the park, we could all move over to the gymnasium, and it's not too bad of a walk.
Right.
So we could move and then have it indoors, whatever, because I'm learning. I have my Shakespeare in the park, and last year I offered it mostly in August, and I got rained out 3 weekends in August. So I thought, I'm going to do it earlier this year. I'm going to do it in June. Well, this year has not proved successful.
And you for the rain and yes.
On Tuesday and Wednesday in June.
So that's a possibility. Also, I could see it as a performance space, like for my kids' camp, to take my kids down there and do a performance down there, maybe. I could certainly use it as an additional rehearsal space when right now I'm actually directing 3 different shows. So we use the Tolovana Arts Colony. They're very generous to give us that space, but I could use more rehearsal space. And then really I could see us producing an event specifically for that space. For instance, I'm thinking I'd like to take my Shakespeare thing, which is only about a half an hour, and maybe one Saturday in August, just present it like from 12 to 4, and just have this kind of Shakespeare day in the park, have some hands-on art activities, some little Shakespeare booths, and then just have this kind of ongoing stage of Shakespeare shows. So that's something that could easily work within that area there. So yeah, I could see lots of ways that the theater could utilize it.
Great. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Patrick. One observation.
Yes.
The committee's support is something that demonstrates public support for the theater, which relates to their status, their nonprofit status, that they are not a foundation, but a publicly supported organization. And it makes a tax difference in your status. So it's a good relationship.
Oh, thank you. I agree. Yeah, in fact, the whole, I'm seeking to build, I've been going for something, but I'm seeking to build relationships with all of the Cannon Beach community. With the Tolovana Arts Colony, with the Cannon Beach History Center, the Chamber of Commerce, the various businesses. I mean, that's really important to me, that the theater have a relationship with the city. Bruce has been wonderful with supporting my Shakespeare in the Park and things like that.
I was more concerned with your relationship with the Internal Revenue Service
Oh, that,
termination letter.
yeah.
To find details in that for people out there.
Luckily, we have an accountant that
Accounts.
Does read those.
works our taxes for us, because our taxes, are this thick when they're done. So they know all those ins and outs and all those rules far better than I do.
I see Jenny has joined us.
Oh,
I was wondering if Jenny has anything to add.
hi, Jenny.
A really bad connection. So I missed most audio. I didn't hear much, but hello.
So I'll catch you up to date, but we're actually wrapped up. It went quite well. And thanks for joining us, and miss your face.
All right.
Oh, and then Jenny, also really quickly, if you guys don't mind,
Yes.
are you there? Mick has realized we don't have,
Yep, she's,
Bad connection.
okay,
Patrick, thank you.
Thank
sure.
you.
I'll catch you later, Jenny. Yeah, we realize that our 32-inch level has to be cut down to 16 inches. So, but, all right, thank you all very much.
You, Patrick.
Okay, please come to our party.
Yep.
It's gonna be a raffle, and we'll be outside during the day. Shakespeare will be performing. We'll have karaoke. And then we move in at 6 o'clock and we'll start serving alcohol and food. And then Thistle and Rose is going to perform for us, as well as some more karaoke. And then we'll have the auction and all that. So I hope you all can join.
Okay.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Patrick.
Hey, Jennifer, so Hannah joins us on our next meeting,
August 1st.
August. So who's leaving?
Jim.
Jim Kingwell,
Okay.
end of the
I
month.
couldn't remember who was dropping off. I didn't think it was me. I think I got at least another year.
Yeah, this year, 2022, Jim was the only one, but 2023, there's a lot of you.
Oh,
that
wow.
are Terming out.
This is one of them. Am I terming out too?
After 8 long years. 8 back-to-back terms.
Sorry to surprise you with a,
I looked it up earlier for Craig,
Okay.
because you know how pushy he is.
You know, our budget at the fire department was complete disarray because you declined being on the budget committee. So I just want you to know, thanks
I
to you,
did
Jack.
actually decline. I wasn't invited this.
I asked them to ask you.
So the North Coast Land Conservancy is next and they're not here. So
Okay, so real quick.
No, we're fine.
Steve Sinclair, okay, let me go by.
Here we go.
So in March of 2024, no, he's 24, sorry, I gotta go, 23. In April 30th of 2023. I've got Greg Bell and Julie Walker.
You and
I knew.
next year.
Okay,
In
next
April,
year.
we're off. We
all
get-
right,
And Steve cannot renew in March of 25.
okay.
Steve's off.
Swedenborg can go till February of 25.
how is that possible that you were leaving before me?
Because I was on it before you. I was on it when Tom Drumheller was still here.
Yep, he was on with,
I was with Linda Beck Sweeney and
Yep.
Claudia and
I thought you came on right after me. No, you-
No.
May of 2015.
Okay.
I'm a trooper.
April 16th.
Hannah will be one of our new members.
And there's Hannah.
So she's
Hey.
to listen in.
Yes.
I only have it on the thing today.
And critique.
Days when-
So Jennifer, you were out of the room when they answered the question about using the elementary school.
I'm gonna listen to the audio.
Right.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, I had.
Sounds like
thought
they'd have
some
good
of
use of it. They'd
I
have
mean, the
great use.
rehearsal space doesn't really help for the,
Right.
for tourism.
Right.
but The
Yeah,
other
but
ones
still.
certainly do, and that hadn't even occurred to me.
Sure.
Although I'm sure they'll address the acoustics in the gymnasium when they do the remote, yeah, because it's lousy.
That's the thing they're taking into consideration too.
Yep.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
It is-
It's pretty bad.
the list of needs, I
Yeah.
Yes.
will grow as,
A little structure, it's just.
oh, yeah.
Sounds bad. But it'll work, a nice concrete floor. Been in the gym?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The acoustics as they stand actually work for the choral groups that have.
They would, but that would
Yeah.
make sense. Actually, that would work.
And that's a
Operatic
Convention.
thing, would- yeah,
that has said they would dearly love to be
Yeah.
back in Cannon Beach instead of Seaside.
yeah.
Ah.
Hello.
hi,
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, okay, I was wondering if you were all on screens. I'm here to talk about North Coast Land Conservancy.
Yeah, you're next.
Excellent.
Next.
Good time. Good timing.
Okay, have a seat right here.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, you guys are all smiling.
Why would we be?
Oh,
Yeah, well, this is fun. You have so much money to give away.
I'm glad you're back. You guys are back. I was dropped off.
Oh, yeah, yeah. COVID has been a little rough, I think, for everyone, and so. So we're glad to be back too.
Could you introduce yourself, give us your name and title, and then, so I'm Steve Sinclair and I'm the chair, and we've read your submission.
Great.
And if you could kind of just go through it a little bit, we're familiar with the event, of course, right? But we will have some questions for you.
Excellent. I love questions because I'm new, so it's a learning opportunity for me. So my name is Cassia Nye, and I'm the development director.
Okay.
I'm in charge of fundraising and making connections with NCLC and supporters. And I'm pretty new. I just started in December, so I'm learning a lot. So I love opportunities like this because if I don't have an answer to a question, I can find out, and it helps me too. So as you probably all know, what we do is we conserve land for its natural value. I think it's part of the reason that visitors love the North Coast is because it is beautiful and full of gorgeous beaches and rainforests and a lot of landscape that they don't necessarily always get to see so readily. And that is what the event is based on. So Coast Walk, which started in 2016, is 30-mile segments that cover North Coast Land Conservancy's entire service area. So participants this year are starting at the northernmost spot of our territory, which is in Fort Stevens. And they will trek 10 miles a day approximately for 3 days on the Oregon Coast Trail. And they get to see the wonders of the coast. And next year, it will be 30 miles further south, the following year, 30 miles, for the entire 120 miles. So Cannon Beach is, it is the end point this year and the beginning point next year. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does.
Right, okay. So there are 90 participants, which usually means about 150 people coming for this event. And they meet every morning at Circle Creek Conservation Center, at least for this year's event. And they will be shuttle bused to day one starting point. They get to trek at their own pace. There are volunteers throughout the course with snacks and water and even interpretive information. What is the geology like? What is the marine like? Yeah, there's a lot of information that is shared, and they are picked up at the end and shuttled back to their cars. That's 10 miles each day. So Cannon Beach this year, because Tillamook Head is in the middle, Cannon Beach is actually happening on day 2, which is pretty great. And we have a few sponsors already in Cannon Beach for the event. And all of the money that is raised from this event, I mean, part of it goes into putting on, you know, an event like this. Shuttle buses are not a cheap thing, especially with gas prices now. And it takes a lot of staff time to organize. So we are fundraising to do a lot of that. That's why I'm here, requesting support in doing that. Also helping to bring visitors to the coast to help them fall in love with it. Each day, from my understanding, these participants will end their 10-mile walk somewhere around lunchtime. So they have at minimum 3 half days to spend exploring the coast. The majority of them come from quite a ways away. And they're staying in hotels, they're staying at Airbnbs, they're staying at a handful of them do stay at friends' houses, which is not so helpful with, you know, the bringing the money in. But from the surveys that we've done in the past, the majority of them eat out. If they're not eating out, they're of course buying groceries here. And they liked, you know, it's not a cheap event either. These are people of means. It's a fundraiser, and they, you know, they buy gifts to all the stereotype.
What's a ticket price?
It's just under $400, $379.
Are any of your sponsors hotels in Cannon Beach? So
Yeah,
offering deals for these people?
yes,
Okay.
they are. Yeah.
Who,
The Hallmark Resort,
okay, gotcha.
Cannon Beach, yeah. They're also very cool, donating a gift certificate too. We're gonna do a drawing, so be rad.
That encourages them to stay in Cannon Beach, but they don't have to. Obviously, they can, if they want to.
Can you clarify for me the breakdown in the amount of energy that your volunteers bring to this? Because I see that you have an allotment for the training of volunteers And then you have a certain number of hours paid for volunteers. Just like 94/40 with those two things combined. But with the number of volunteers that are involved here and the distance covered, I'm not quite sure how that works out, because it seems like there's a lot more volunteer hours that have not been assigned a value that may be be put into this.
That is such a good question. Thank you. The volunteer hours are added up through, well, there's a lot of ways. So for example, once a month, I am meeting with volunteer captains. So there's a walking and wayfinding captain and two of them, and they have recruited their volunteer pool to be the walking and wayfinding folks the 3 days of the event. So these are the ones who will start out with the participants. They will guide them along the trail. They will answer some of their questions. They will, that's mostly what they do, walking and wayfinding. There's also a safety volunteer captain. So we're partnering with Ham operators because there are some points along the trail where there's no cell phone reception. And so we will have volunteers stationed. So they also have to understand the trail. A lot of them are walking the trail ahead of time to make sure that they know where it is. We have one volunteer who's a retired nurse. She is going through our first aid packets to make sure we have everything we need, that nothing is expired. Those things. And there is, the registration, check in and check out captain. So she also is recruiting volunteers for example, parking. Every day when all of these participants, 90 of them, come to Circle Creek, you have to line them up. She has to check them in. She has to make sure at the end of the day that they are getting checked out. So it's a very simple event, but as I am learning, there are a lot of really tiny moving parts, and they're putting a lot of volunteer time into things, even like getting permits for state parks because we'll be on the beach, and coordinating. Well, if we have 90 participants and the buses each hold 45, what's happening with the rest of the volunteers? Do those volunteers need to get permits to park at state parks in order to be where they need to be to help the participants? Do they need to carpool together? And so there's someone organizing all of these tiny little bits of it. And a lot of them are volunteers.
So each of these days, how many volunteers do you estimate are actively involved for some portion of that day?
That's a good question. 1, 2. Well, for the event, we have a total of 35 volunteers. And really, each of those 35 will be involved at some part of the day, each day. Did that help?
Oh, yeah, it's interesting because there's a certain payment available for volunteer time. And you plugged it into the budget at $40 an hour. It came out to $8,000. And that's why I'm suggesting that there's a difference in the total inputs the volunteers are putting in versus what showed up in the.
It's totally possible. Yeah. And that would be, my responsibility if I didn't.
I'm guessing there's a lot of unpaid volunteer hours in there.
A lot of unpaid volunteer.
I just want to recognize the value of that input to describe, what percentage of your budget you're asking for, which is like a quarter of what shows up.
Yeah.
The value of what you're putting in greater than the value that you indicate in the.
Right.
Okay. I believe you. Yeah. We are lucky to have very generous volunteers. Sure. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Oh, I think I've got a handle.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify what I think was actually happening versus, budgets often have a view that is other than reality. I didn't want to see your us failing to recognize the value of that energy input by people.
So you're asking for money for this year's. And you're ending in Cannon Beach. Will you be back next year to ask because we're at the beginning? Okay.
Oh, you bet. Yeah. Yeah. Partnership is one of the fun things I get to build in my job. So
That seems like that's what happened last time. And then on the third part, you did not ask for money because you were down further.
correct. Similar. We're way down south.
Budget,
Sure.
it's just,
So I think in your first year, maybe your first and second year, you started with 50 participants.
Yeah.
And now you're at 90 participants.
there's.
You see this growing past 90 participants? Because I think you sell out quickly, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Why aren't you growing the number of participants or expanding the number of participants if you're selling out so quickly?
That's a great question. I'm gonna explore that more next year.
She's new.
It's my first year. I'm not gonna change anything. Is really the reason it was not explored this year. But you betcha, I'm gonna think about it.
Other than shuttle.
My guess is the amount of lubrication available for all those moving parts and pieces with a limited number of volunteers.
It would,
Capacity, your own carrying capacity.
yeah, it would make it a little more challenging. But also if the system is there,
Right, scale it.
Yeah.
like we
Uh-huh.
we need one more bus.
One more shuttle bus, right? 'Cause you're really only constrained by the buses, really, I think.
Yeah.
Beach is big. You
Same
can,
volunteers are gonna ask the same questions as they walk by.
Go that way.
yeah, here's the snack bar. Go that way.
Right.
An extra granola bar and
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah.
Snacks and buses.
Yeah.
Okay.
This year, we always, well, not always, I can't say that. There is a wait list this year. It is not, it's under 10 at this point.
Okay.
And inevitably, things come up. Hopefully people don't get sick, but we fill the spots if people do drop out with those on the wait list. But we did some advertising this year, but that could also be expanded if we opened it up to 135 participants next year. So this is definitely happening in my mind. We just weren't sure with
Sure.
COVID. We opened,
Right.
it was.
I get it.
And like, do people, it's outdoors, but they're riding a bus, like, are people feeling safe? There is a lot of questions.
I know it's harder when you go, I have a friend who does this every year.
Yeah,
And when you go over Nehalem, there was a boat involved. She's like, because I was talking about how did it go? What'd you guys think? Because, I love this idea. And she was like, it got a little tricky with the boat.
yeah,
It's like, you can only do so many people at a time and that kind of thing. And so she said, I could see where that third part, when you're down there, could be a little bit trickier rather than just the shuttle bus being the issue and the snacks being an issue. So
that's good for me to know. I mean,
Well, you can have different numbers for different segments, right? Okay, it's
absolutely.
segment 1 and 2.
Yep.
135.
Right.
Tricky one,
Right. Maybe.
75,
Exactly.
but
Maybe we don't.
possibilities.
It seemed like, was it Katie Volke that did ask for the money the first time? Was it Katie that was? It seemed like she said she had, in her mind, she had it growing to 150 people, but maybe she didn't know that how many people fit in the bus. I don't know.
yeah,
Or both.
yeah,
Boat.
yeah.
It seems like it's like add a bus every year.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Right. It is really fun to think about the potential opportunity for this event because from what I have seen, very beloved by the participants. They do it year after year. They bring their friends, they pay for each other. Like, it's really pretty great. So I think there is a lot of potential, which is exciting for us because that's what we want, is for everyone to fall in love with the coast and to keep coming back.
I'm just probably missing it, but sometimes these budgets, they'll show what the TAF money is actually being used for. And this one, it looks like it's lumped in. And I'm just curious. You're making making expenses of 39K. Participant fees equal 37. If you didn't get anything from us at all, what would not get done with the 10 grand? What part of this budget doesn't get funded if, you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, and it's a really.
What's helpful sometimes is when you say, the TAF funds are used for this line item, this line item, this line item.
I will
That's helpful.
mental note that for next year.
I'm just curious.
I think a lot of it this year, it would have to be nice to haves, but not the must haves, right? And a lot of that would be the way we take care of the participants. So snacks is a really good example.
Right.
We get a lot of them donated, and also we purchase quite a number of them. There's a welcome party that we put on. Historically, it's been held at like Pelican Brewery did one year, which I heard was a lot of fun. But this year it's one extra moving part. Pelican is full. It's just not going to happen. So we're trying to put something together at the Conservation Center. Maybe that wouldn't happen. Yeah, it would be things like,
That's helpful in the future, just in your budget, just say, these are the things that TAF money is going to be used to fund.
yeah,
And this line, that way, we,
sense.
that way, if you didn't have the money, what would you lose?
Yeah. Some of it too might end up simply being less staff time that we can devote. Like, for example, our communications coordinator is absolutely fabulous, but she has, I don't even know, 17 or 18 spinning plates that she's trying to clean, and she's paid hourly. So if Coast Walk isn't bringing in as much money, then she simply won't have those hours to dedicate to advertising or
Makes sense.
promotions on Facebook. Yeah,
I see.
good question. And I'll do that next year.
Helpful.
So the city of Cannon Beach purchased the elementary school recently. Is there any possibility or opportunity for the North Coast Land Conservancy to use that facility as part of this event?
Or for any other
Or anything else.
ideas that they have.
Anything,
It's so fun. I would imagine so. I'm new.
right?
Run it by Katie, but I love the idea. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I've driven by the outside. It's just elementary schooly on the inside and
Yeah.
like,
And a big gymnasium, huge gymnasium.
Huge,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I like this idea. I mean, what would you imagine? Like, we could have our welcome party there.
For sure.
Catered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the year that
Speakers.
starting there,
Yeah.
up the street from it.
And
Meeting spot,
It's a good spot for that.
park everyone there and then,
they're trying to design the remodel or rebuild based upon what they think would be good uses. And it's, there's a short window of opportunity to say, build it this way. And we will come.
yeah. Well, I think just space, right? Like space for meeting safely at this point.
Or, educational uses.
Yep.
Occasional, yeah.
Asian speak.
Outreach from your organization to the community at large or to.
Because, yeah, we have a lot of outdoor space to meet. But 9 months a year, it's not always ideal. So,
At least.
yeah, that's pretty exciting,
Well, and classroom spaces in
Yeah.
addition to the big space, the classroom spaces.
right? For meeting, because we're often looking for meeting space.
Sure.
Um,
Something to consider.
Thank you. Yeah.
Big outdoor area for someone to bring falconry. I want someone to do the falcon thing. I
Please.
want to do the falcon thing. Falconry. You want to see falcons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else for us?
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity and doing what you're doing. I mean, it's fun and also it's challenging to sort of fit in where, where the money is going to be most beneficial to Cannon Beach. And it takes a lot of time. So I just want to say thank you. And thanks for letting me be here and see you in person and
Glad you're on board.
my excitement. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions.
No, no.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Meet you.
Hope your meeting goes well. Great to meet you all.
So far, so good.
You're on time, Stephen.
Yes.
Woo-hoo.
I don't know. Through the window though.
My wife brought me snacks. Yeah,
Yes.
because I'm on so many meds now. I have to take
Oh,
food.
no, that's right. We good?
We're ready when you are.
Where, are we?
Anybody want to?
Flush Lux.
What's Lux?
Bridget and gang.
And then it's the library. Okay, got them in order now.
Don't see enough of you, Bridget.
Hello, everyone.
This is Erica. She's our planner for both events, Blush Lux and Wow. And she also owns Child's Play in Town with her mom. So I brought her along because it's just, she's my other half of my brain because it's jumbled at the time. So she can freely answer questions too. She's totally involved and everything.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
We want to do WOW first or?
Let's do Blush Lux. That's what we have on our schedule. Let's do that first. We've read your submission. And you want to kind of submission and the event, and then we'll ask questions as you bring up things.
My submission really didn't change too much from the year before in what my ask was. The reason for that is last year was a COVID year, just 100%. So what it did was it allowed us to wholeheartedly realize the potential and what we need to do. And so with that, even in looking through the budget and all those kinds of things, I think that we were pretty much on track. So even though we didn't have big ticket sales because of COVID last year, everything that we planned to do with the flip and turnover in the Union Knot, hair and makeup, photographers coming, we had a wonderful turnout and everybody there was so excited and has actually pre-bought tickets for this year as well and is sharing the word. So that was one of the reasons we're not changing too much. The ask, I feel what we're working with this year currently in 2022 has been working really well as far as helping with marketing, PR, and the things that we need. What I'm looking for in the future and with 2023 is to be able to sell more tickets to offset what is needed for funding. That's always my goal in looking at everything. Right now, what we got for 2022 and what I've projected for 2023 is similar and has been working really well. And it's so appreciated from the city and everything. It's running very smoothly right now, unlike last year, which was so hard. I know Erica felt it as well, but this year we've got wonderful marketing. We have a PR lady. We have tons of volunteers. We have met several times with local women in our community, and we actually have bonded and are coming together for other things. I know, like AJ came and asked me for a bunch of stuff for the putts and stuff like that. So that relationship I really feel is being formed. One of these things as well, and having them as part of this. So.
Sure, like for this year, do you have the outside talent that's coming into that agreements in place?
We do. Yes. Yes, we already do. We have quite a bit. You could share?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, this weekend, by Monday, we'll have the full 3-day itinerary published. And so I'm excited to share that. That's part of what my role was to coordinate the 3-day happenings of events. So as far as outside collaboration, specifically for Blush Lux, we have a guest speaker. So she's a keynote. We have two, they dabble in esthetician and hair and makeup styling coming in to lead a workshop. The Blush Lux, as Bridget has expressed, and it's very much beauty and wellness driven. And so those are vendors that are participating. In total, there's 5 part of the Blush Lux experience, and they're booked.
And so that's working with what we have now. If we have more ticket sales, which we're hoping, because we're doing our blast, like starting right now. I'm actually going to Las Vegas to the hair and esthetician show this weekend, and I'm going to meet and collaborate with other people and see if anybody wants to come out or for next year, and trying to keep that in motion as well too. So it's a good community. The hair and makeup community is pretty involved. So,
And not just hair and makeup, but like overall wellness.
sure, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do those agreements and costs relate to the line item in your budget? That's 8,000 estimated talent and travel costs.
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of the vendors are coming outside of town. So we are offering a 2-night, 1-night stay accommodation based on their needs and their participation in the weekend. So that does come out of budget for that part. Specifically with Lush Lux, there's catering involved. Well, there's mimosas and pastries and things that pair with some of the workshops that'll be taking place. The photographer is a use of the budget, as that particular vendor is there for the full 3-day weekend and taking care of their hair and makeup photo sessions.
So right now, we're at approximately $4,500 of what we've established. I know that's what.
That's where I was.
Where are we at?
I wanted to know how it related to.
Estimated, so 45.
So the photographers, we got a really great photographer. They originally quoted us 3,000 and they are doing it for 2. Erica is so wonderful when she has phone conversations. People always kind of give in kind. It's been amazing. Like the DJ has donated, that's for wow. But like people are just, oh, okay, I think I can do this for this, when they know that it's 100% going back to the library and going back into next year and stuff like that. None of us are making anything.
So- Yeah, it was your reference to like the photographer as a vendor. I come from a background where vendors are people who apply and pay a fee to be in a space to sell their service.
Right.
And here they're selling you're buying their service or your criteria.
Correct. It's a lot like the yoga festival where she has to pay yoga artists to come. It's like that rather than the opposite. You're wanting people to come because you're also using their social media. They're promoting it for you. It's kind of an in-kind way of doing that as well. So, our social media and stuff has them and we're sharing that with them and they're sharing it on their page. And so that's kind of how things are done now, more marketing like that.
Any of them have, I don't know who they are and I'm not in that world. So do any of them have product to sell?
Yes, a few of them.
The Artisan Market is something to touch on.
Right, that's in WOW. For Blush Lux, no.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was just thinking
Try to
that
keep this-
if you're getting exposure to be able to, as I'm talking about this thing, I also have this thing to sell, then maybe as you get bigger, that could be not necessarily that they're paying you, but they would pay you less, or they would charge you less because it's giving them
They have an
option
opportunity.
Yeah.
to an opportunity to sell whatever their
Correct.
thing.
I see this morphing as it comes into what it really needs to, as far as who wants to come and be part of, I've said that all along. It's kind of finding its ground now. So I'm so appreciative of the grants and everything. It's really helped to get this vision going. So
Two of these categories, the videography and photography. Are you creating a promotional asset that has value that you're asking funding from this committee for?
yes,
Another thing, there's 3,000 in here for merchandise, t-shirts that you would then be using for sale. That are in your overall budget request. And I wondered, your request from us is for less than the overall budget. But it gets a little blurry when we start seeing things that would normally be an enterprise by a retailer to pay for those things so that they can then turn around and
profit.
and make their.
Correct, yeah.
I'm assuming that merchandise is different than your swag bag merchandise.
It is. So
It is.
bag merchandise is totally free,
Right.
and we do try to get in-kind stuff like the gal last year that did a bunch of a makeup class actually used to work at Lancome. So we all got free Lancome stuff. It was amazing. Like her bag was amazing. So we were like, can you come back? So she's like, yes.
So that photography is different than the photographer that's taking pictures of the people.
Correct.
$6,000 for social media marketing seems like an awful lot.
I know you
Say what that is.
but it's a huge piece.
Okay,
So social media marketing, we have, it actually is in two. We need social media and we need PR because we need to be able to do print and
Sure.
radio and stuff.
Press
on
release.
Press release kind of stuff. So we've hired two different people because we were finding from last year's experience, having one person do both. It was just too much. Basically, it's the social media part of it, and Flux is very social media driven. I mean, that's just our clientele too. Like, they want to use the hashtags to do this and do that. So it was important to have someone that was very knowledgeable about.
okay, so it's not just the money to boost a Facebook, it's also hire, there's a professional in there that's doing that as well as, okay.
Yeah.
Because that seemed like a lot to.
So it's the
put on
hiring.
Facebook or place a Google ad is not that expensive, but the expertise to do that is another thing.
And it's the hiring of the individual to do that. And we have hired two local people as well. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Bridget, can I, the videography, what is that? What video or what's that actually, once it's created, what do you?
Before, he's been out 3 times now and we've done sorry.
I can answer this part.
Okay.
I got you. So we hired
Tag off.
We've done a lot.
we hired a videographer out of Portland, Casperson Productions. And he's been out to the coast 3 times so far and we've filmed reel video shoots. So Instagram and Facebook does these like video reels that gain a lot of traction and we're kind of boosting some advertising into that. So Bridget and I spent a full day essentially talking about the event, what it's about, trying to be very transparent with communicating what to expect, where the money is going, what's happening, why you should come. So he has created these segments of videos for us. That's an aspect of where the budget's going, which funds right back into our digital marketing. He'll also be on site as he was last year, takes full content coverage of the weekend, which we then create a promotional video. For next
Thank you. The reason I ask is we're going to have a Morrissey Productions ask. And I don't want to be doubling up. If they already hiring a videographer, we don't need, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Because Morrissey,
it's not Morris.
Okay. well, I just want to make sure we're not paying twice for.
Right.
And so all of those videos are on the website. We're
Okay.
putting them on all social media. So if you go and like those social media, you'll see them. They're also on the website. You can see the videos. We've done a bonfire to show Cannon Beach, like he came out and did it. We're trying to use, our own, because we were using him anyway. So he came out last year. It was actually great that we didn't have a huge amount of people because he would take individual class. He went to every single thing and videos of it was amazing. And
He's best attitude.
he does. He's just an amazing person. So that was the video, yes. Which is all separate. So it's really videography, that's all marketing stuff.
But then your $6,000 for social media can use that videography.
Correct.
to Push that out on social media.
And we can use it for like Dina's and
Mhm.
B Boutique and stuff like that when we're sharing with that, because he took videos in their stores. So we're cross promoting that and they're sharing and then trying to get people and ticket sales generated around that. Early enough this year, we're going to do kind of little rack cards that they can put in their bags for people that are coming now and they can buy tickets from that. So this is the VIP event though. So this isn't a general ticket sale. We're talking about Blush Luck. So this is.
Yep.
They do cross pollinate because we are using the same people for WOW too.
And the last event, there were 13 VIP tickets, 3 dropped out, got refunds.
Yeah.
This amount of money would have been $1,506 for every room night.
Right.
Attributed specifically to Blush. How do you separate the response to Blush Lux versus the response to WOW? how do you identify who's here mainly for one event or the other? How much overlap is there?
Well,
That's a good question.
yeah, I think that we do it by ticket sales wholeheartedly. Not everyone who went to WOW bought a VIP ticket.
Right.
So the one place it gets gray is that when you buy a VIP ticket, your WOW ticket's included. So in the future, that might not be the best bet to do that, or there should be an add-on. But I like having it, like, that's your VIP experience. Like it's full access to everything. You get all the swag bags and everything separate. I don't know that I answered your question to that, but
No, it would be a tough one to. If I were buying a VIP ticket, I'd kind of like the WOW event included. I would, because I would think like an elitist.
that's kind of the goal to that.
Yeah, right.
It is, you know.
So it makes it slippery.
Why not buy that?
Mhm.
So like, you
Yeah.
get all this, you don't have to attend all of it either.
Right.
So, but you get to walk into the boutiques or everything with your badge that's different. You get special care.
Yep.
You get the one-on-one with hair and makeup. It's 30-minute slots. You know, you've got your own person doing it. It was like a great time upstairs. I'm telling you, we had mimosas. It just primed everybody to get out the door. And they were going to each of the boutiques and they spent money.
But
So,
in terms of cross promotion,
yes.
it's pretty slippery, separating one from the other.
It is, but for Blush Luxe, it's the ticket sale. That's who's come across the line from WOW. Like, we're gonna spend this money. So I think you're gonna look at that in just ticket sales.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It makes
Okay.
sense to me.
Yeah, it does me too.
So there are a couple of things that make me scratch my head. One,
Just a couple.
okay, there's a handful. One is you had 7 attendees in 2021, right? 10 purchased, 3 didn't show.
13.
13.
And show.
There were 10 VIP tickets sold. We had 3 persons who could not attend. So it's those 3 of the 10 tickets were sold, 3 couldn't attend.
No, there was 10 attended. So I must have.
So 10 attendees.
And attended.
So 10 attendees. And you think you're gonna take this in 2 years from 10 people to 100 VIP? That's a huge growth.
Mhm.
I'd say 10 to 20 would be great.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see a marketing plan that says that there's a good chance of going from 10 to 100, because the marketing plan that is kind of described is 3 sentences long. And doesn't talk about print, but print was discussed in the presentation. That's a huge ask to go from 10 to 100 in 2 years. The other thing that's making me scratch my head is the number of room nights that you calculate. You said 72 room nights for 10 people. So that means really what you're saying is each person stayed a week. 7 days, right? If you have 10 attendees and 72 room nights,
Both Blush Luxe.
yes.
Yes, and this is what page?
It's question 4.
Thank you.
Answer to question 4. The 2021 festival generated 72 room nights.
Did you
10.
include WOW in that?
Probably.
I think
More sense.
wow.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So that explains one part of this.
Yeah.
But the other thing that makes me scratch my head in this answer is you're talking about 3 room nights, but I only see 2 nights of events. I don't see any reason why somebody is staying on Sunday.
Sunday night.
Oh.
Yeah.
The other events that are asking for money have a Sunday afternoon event that kind of encourages people to stay Sunday evening.
And we did have a Sunday afternoon event.
Yeah.
In the itinerary, and we do this year as well.
Okay,
The itinerary essentially ends at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
And people did attend that. Track that.
No, Steve, I don't know if 10 to 100 makes sense either. However, it's a uniquely close quarter personal event. And I think when you put COVID in that mix, it makes it,
I don't disagree.
if you
with
didn't have a COVID thing, it probably would blossom to.
And well, and that's why I think 10, it was
Yeah.
that response was impacted by COVID.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's double it to 20. 20 to 100 is still huge growth,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we look at the North Coast Land Conservancy that's gone from 50 to what, 90?
80.
And they're sold out and they cap it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
This to
point.
me is.
100 might be aggressive, maybe ambitious.
Aggressive.
Ambitious.
I understand.
Yeah,
Feeling with
But
that.
I still think it's a really, makeup and hair, you're in someone's face, so it's
no,
COVID. I think it has a chance to,
For 2023.
yeah, it has a chance.
it'll be.
Have you sold the kits this year yet?
Yeah, and actually yes, and we actually just sold one to Canada, so it's.
Yeah, our most frequent ticket sale came out of Canada this
Outside of
weekend.
miles, right?
Exciting.
Already,
So
Canada,
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's
it's
aggressive.
ambitious.
It is.
I agree with
And I
you.
hope you're successful.
I do too.
Do hope
Hope it's
it's
too-
successful.
Well,
Yeah.
then I'll be like pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
For another,
For another reason.
oh my God.
How many blush luxes have you sold so far?
So 6.
And that's considered a pre-sale. So
It is.
the itinerary will be published this weekend and there's advertising budget set aside to really pump that. We have a press release that's going to visit Seattle and visit Portland offices. And I'm hopeful that with money invested in that the word will get out and that,
I mean, I think you guys are.
June to November.
Talking about
sales
November.
will go up.
It's actually going live this
I
week.
think you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, one of the attendees was from Portland and worked in a realty office, and she's like, I love this. She came up to me and she's like, I can't wait to promote this for everybody in the offices and offer this stuff to them, both wow and
Good.
luck. So it's like tapping into the right place. And it also is in multiples. People are now like one person from last year is bringing her daughter and her daughter's friend too.
I was gonna say, who wants to do this by themselves?
Yeah.
Right, you want
It's like a
groups,
girls'
yeah.
weekend.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's helpful.
Which we encourage, like, we're really wanting to encourage the locals to attend and to participate too. And, there's a market for that. Just to be a tourist in your own town.
So you're gonna do hot shaves? Are they gonna have a hot?
I've had,
That's a phenomenal.
I do too, because
Yeah.
I've never had one. I was one.
Confirmed with
Handsome
Handsome Wolf
Wolf.
that he's gonna come and do.
He's awesome.
Because I've never, well, look at you.
I have a 24-year-old son that works in Astoria, but he's like, I just so want a hot.
I've
He's been talking
I've
about a hot
wanted one.
since he was 19. And I was
I've
like,
never had, I've always wanted.
Because the back and it's
So great.
It's like whiskey and hot shave
That'd be so great.
go together.
of course,
Sipping a whiskey with a hot shave, yeah, that's a great idea.
How did you bleed out? Well.
Yeah. There was whiskey involved.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
And it's not a head scratcher on this one.
Okay.
It's the city has purchased the elementary school. And the city's wondering, and so we're wondering, are there possibilities and opportunities of the event being held, any part of the event being held at the elementary school?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I can jump in and say that as our ticket sales continue to grow, right now we have the Chamber Hall, the Union Knot, and My Store Child's Play. Those are our venues. So so I would love to be able to have a space to host a keynote session, and
For
the
a
canopy,
larger-
the gymnasium would be fantastic for that. Other aspects.
Downtown, it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walking, it's easy.
Yeah.
Good. We had for Blush Lux, we had the photography class that Rob Roll did. It was wonderful.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that
the
would
Arts
be great in
Association.
there.
That was great.
So yes.
Yes, please. We'd love to use this goal.
Okay, great.
So are you pitching the male portion of that? I haven't seen, I've seen.
I saw,
stuff. You
I saw something on,
I
I
missed
brought it up.
Okay.
There's a hot shave thing somewhere. I saw.
Like in this little, in this,
In this, yeah,
not yet, like we're
Yeah.
going to advertise that.
that's a really good idea. I think.
Because we do want to encourage people to bring their spouses, their kids. Last year we had families show up and so we want to to make it feel like it's not just for women, that it enjoy the coast, be here with your family. There's something for everybody.
Would you make that, just out of curiosity, because we haven't gotten to WOW yet, but would you make that like, and if your husband's coming along, hot shave is, I don't know how much a hot shave is, $20 or whatever. Like, they don't have to buy a ticket for this.
No, no.
It would be
yeah.
part of it.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hot shave is 20 with the whiskey,
With the
35.
Talk to McGregor yet. Yeah. But we'll see, yeah. Let them move first.
In town now, right?
And actually, Erica, that.
Yeah.
So that would be.
I love that idea. That brings the men in
Oh, yeah.
too, and
I just want to do it.
And like, we want them to come to the parties. And last year, a lot of men did.
Yeah,
And, you know, we had live bands and.
number one ticket right here, it sounds like. Well, and your son is second.
And your son,
Yeah, I mean.
and Sinclair probably goes since it's the handsome wolf. Get your shave right here in town, so you're not having to go to see that.
I wouldn't have to go there during summer.
Hot shave.
And this is where my knowledge is lacking, but is there another model that you guys are kind of working off of an event in another location, or is this
Unique.
unique in itself?
So this is unique in itself. There was a model that I was looking at originally where I wanted to do just hairstylists to come and do a retreat type thing. And
It's continuing education. What?
it kind of is, yeah. And there was one that I went to a while ago that I have followed, and I just liked the aesthetic. I liked everything about it. How they did it. And so when we were looking at this, it's different.
Yes.
But I had a hard time finding anything to even model on. Yeah, so that some of this is just coming out of, you know, like, oh, let's try this. And if it doesn't work or whatnot, which last year was great for. But and so I did, and it's different in the fact that it's not a retreat, like it's more based around that weekend, and it's a day event for the Blush Lux, you know, for people to come and stay as far as their hair and makeup part of it. But then we wanted to have the guest speakers on another day and, you know, kind of work it around a weekend, a 3-day event. Yeah. So I don't know if you answered that, but not.
Yeah, no.
It's totally unique. I think,
Yeah,
I haven't found one yet. If I did, I would love to
yeah.
see there.
yeah, I'm like, is there, you know, ways to feed off of another, I mean, thinking of the growth numbers that you have, I mean. That's where I go back to. Yeah, I mean, I have had all the girls down from college or high school, or, you know, I'm like, how do you tap in?
I know.
That doesn't solve my
I've been hired.
renting, you know, depending on how many a person can have. That doesn't necessarily fill hotels, but, you know.
And I've been hired to do makeup classes for people. I went last year they were having a women's retreat, and they go every year. And there was 8 of them there, you know, I was like, that's kind of where this came up.
Yeah.
Let's do this around the women's only.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we can have classes and do that, so.
Do you have anything else for us?
I don't for blush.
Morning blush,
Any other questions for them
not for blush.
on this issue or this event? Let's move on to, wow.
Wow. Oh, wow. Wow now. Erica and I learned a lot last year with WOW, and how we need to incorporate like the whole city, you know, and not just necessarily like the boutiques or something like that. So we've gone and done a much bigger reach this year as far as getting to know people, going to different stores.
I think that's music to our ears,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good idea.
I think questions in the past have been, they're going from here to here to here to here to here to here. And kind of their businesses in the community, and we'd like,
I would like
talk to us about that.
everybody to be involved with this for WOW, because it is a community event, even though it's not a chamber driven event. Which a couple of people are like, well, is it part of the chamber? I'm like, no, it's separate, but it's the same kind of feel and everything. It's more, that's why we kind of rephrase it to a festival more than an event because we want it to be around town and people visiting and, you know, going in and out of every store, not just specific stores. And that's where it kind of Lush Lux took a little bit of that out for having it a little bougie on one end, but then wow being everywhere and including the men and like the hot shaves. And I would like to get, you know, like a masseuse somewhere and decided to flip the chamber. So there's an artisan event in the chamber as well. During, was it 12 to 2?
Yeah,
on Saturday?
and that is super inclusive of our community. So we're doing a little artisan market, kind of like a pop-up at the Chamber Hall during WOW weekends. And there's like a dozen vendors I've booked, all local makers. And that is something that, you know, our heart was really to just like encourage their talents and but offer kind of this unique pop-up shopping experience for the attendees. So we haven't like super discussed this, but I really want there to be a lot of like traffic for that. So I'm teetering the idea of having the chamber, you know, promote this kind of pop-up market that'll be taking place. Come stop by. By the way, there's a whole event happening this weekend that you can take part of.
Last year, we had vendors at our grand opening night and Saturday night wind down, which worked good, but it was made everything kind of like where everyone was like on the corners and we were kind of in the middle, like looking at each other with the band playing and stuff. So it was like, well, it might be nice to take that out. And the Friday kickoff party, we are going to have a DJ and have raffles and have it more fun and inclusive
Trivia.
for men and children, and everyone can come in for that instead of it being more of a late night sultry kind of music playing. But then on Saturday, having music, you know, live jazz and stuff like that for there. But we've taken the artisans out of that. I think it was just more of a better environment to gather and have some food and hors d'oeuvres and stuff like rather than having them in there. So having the Saturday kind of market was nice too. And I think it gets people busy and started, and then that's the information booth where they can get everywhere that you can go. Everyone that's participating with everything, you know, will kind of have a list and it gets them walking in and around town and up and down.
Yeah, and then as far as like just encouraging, you know, community business owners, like we have the Seasons Cafe catering a box lunch, which is included in a WOW general admission ticket. Like Cannon Beach Soap, she'll be one of the vendors at the little market. So everyone is essentially local or within the county for that portion.
If you had more space, could you do more than 12 artisan pop-ups?
I would love to. Just to protect their time and like the integrity of it, you know, they're trying to sell their product. I want there to be foot traffic that makes it work for them. So I would book 50 vendors if I had the capacity and knowing
At the school, for the classroom, are great spots for vendors.
I would love that. I would love there be an opportunity to expose this weekend and the artisan market be something that would encourage that foot traffic and then increase attendance. So I've capped myself at that 12 vendor.
You're in the chamber, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously if the event grows, then there's opportunity to grow and
Using the school would be amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, good for that. Lots of things, right?
Absolutely.
Totally. What else do we have questions about anything else? Can I talk about?
Budget questions, Jim? I have.
Jim, do you have budget question?
I have budget questions. So I'm surprised you don't have budget questions. I'm comparing the two budgets for the two events, right? For WOW, you have estimated talent and entertainment of $5,000. Is that separate from the estimated talent
It is.
of $8,000? So you're paying.
For instance, that would be like the DJ and we are doing Julia Medici again.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
As well as their accommodations.
some of the accommodations, that as well.
This
Right.
same weekend. brand and
Right,
talent, yeah.
Exactly.
right. Which just seems high to me. I have the same questions regarding number of room nights and number of attendees and the growth that I had on the previous event. 75 room nights, 24 people. So you're making an assumption that they're staying 3 nights. But I still am only seeing 2 days of events, a Friday kickoff party, midday Saturday concert, and a Saturday wind down. I don't see a Sunday event on this. And so is this not accurate, or is there?
So did you get this last?
I don't know.
Thing on it.
Itinerary?
I don't have it.
Oh,
Jen.
One moment.
So we had the 10 to 12 mimosas and minis.
On Sunday.
On Sunday.
Okay.
And then we had 11 to 12, we had a Blush Lux speaker. For Blush Lux, and that was, and then we had 1 to 2 wreath making class, and that was sold out.
Ooh.
And that was at Child's Play. So that's what we did last year on Sunday. And we're continuing that this next year as well.
Scheduled events for Sunday this year end at 2 p.m. to 2.
Okay.
So do we think is there a specific time threshold that we think needs to play in to hold people over on a Sunday night?
Because 2 is still early enough where they might go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're from Portland.
Yeah, in November they might. Sure, a lot of
Yeah.
people in town today.
Well, that's more encouraging than what I read,
Okay.
right? So, because what I read doesn't show that, so that,
So what's in there are just the big kickoff and wind down. Like those are the 2 main events
right,
that we're putting on for people to come in and out of the chamber, to show them where to go around town. Just for different things.
You should be doing something. for
Yeah, you should be doing a wine thing.
so they're using Vineside, the women-owned,
Wine bar.
yeah, the wine bar. Now, they were in Seaside, now they're in Astoria, so I did the kickoffs when it was down at Ocean Lodge. But now that they have Vineside, they're using the women's.
Where's that happening?
We're only using them for that Friday night and Saturday when we're having like the parties, but we could have something at the wine shack where people then go there, that's.
I'm not asking for that, I'm just, yeah. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I actually contacted you guys. I don't know if
Uh-oh.
who I reached out to,
Last year.
but last year.
Like a bunch.
But yeah, I would love to have you guys involved in some way. And I think it'd even be fun to pair it with a tasting, like a charcuterie wine. So I had an idea
So Saber's coming up, the event, and we did Sunday pours for Saber. And
That would be.
yeah,
that would be a great fit for what we're doing.
Get them so they have to stand.
That's right.
Oh,
I need another night.
Another night.
Wine shack on Sunday.
Yeah.
That'd be-
Dan.
Wine shack.
Yeah.
But we emailed a bunch of stuff last year and nobody got back to us, but that was like. Last year was hard. This year is much more
Yeah.
inclusive.
And I think brand awareness overall,
Mhm.
like for the event itself.
The Vineside people are bringing their wine down for your parties. Is that how it's
Just the party, just Friday night and Saturday nights. They're at the chamber.
at the chamber? Okay, got it.
they're good people.
They're amazing. Yeah, they're.
Yep. And then I also have questions. Question 10 regarding your marketing plan. Talk about print advertising in here. So print advertising, I go back to what's your demographic? What does your target audience look like? And is print advertising the best way to capture that person's attention?
So print advertising's been the hardest part to like, you need it, but does it have a return necessarily? So last year we went lean on print advertising, but what we realized is we needed more in windows for flyers, like bigger size. And then we've been talking to the boutiques and other places. It was nice to have
Card to
a
drop.
card to drop in their bag. So that's the print that I think can go for the long term, like even starting now, people coming down would be like, oh, yeah, okay, that's in the winter, and that's a good time. Maybe the girl, so that's where that's coming. And it is actually, we're probably spending more than we even have on here for print advertising for WOW.
So I guess I maybe print advertising threw you off a little bit. Item 7 says place ads in regional magazines like Seattle Women's Magazine. And then item 12 says we plan to advertise in the Portland Tribune, Oregonian, and on local radio stations. So I was asking more about the Oregonian, the Tribune, and Seattle Women's Magazine. It's like, are those spends?
Do they make sense?
Yeah, do they make sense?
I would
We were
ask the same. I love the idea of the rack card. That's a no brainer
right.
at Dina's and B
Yeah.
Boutique
It is the
and
best.
all, and the CNR, all those places.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
What
ads
we've
make-
done with this now, though, even though this is in here, is that's in there in the event that we need to do that, but the PR person actually is running that right now, and we haven't had to. And we haven't put any of that.
So she's trying to get free
Yes.
PR, not running an ads.
Not running.
I'm all for that.
Makes
So she's
Right.
doing a lot of that.
And is that
I was surprised you didn't ask.
Yeah, because usually, Julie, you're a hawk on that.
light or is that Oregonian on print? Because those are.
Night and day.
Yes.
Yes.
This was this was
Yeah.
in there originally, I think, when like Buddy had done that original print kind of thing. Last year, we didn't end up doing that. We were just sending digital
Mhm.
PR stuff, and that didn't work at all either. And that's where it came, like we really do need a PR person who actually found us a phenomenal guest speaker. And she's doing it for, is it in
Shannon
time?
Kaiser. She's an author out of Portland.
Yeah, so she's been great, the PR person. So
You're not really
Trying
ad,
I'm not trying to micromanage her.
trying to get free PR.
You're trying to get free PR as opposed to placing.
That's kind of totally different than an ad.
Right.
Yeah. And she actually has the vision to come and like include the library and like pitch a story. Like, what are they going to do with the funds from the ticket sales and why it's important to them? And that's where she's been a huge help is.
Who is the PR person?
Her name is Jane Lochia?
JC Communications.
JC.
She's out of Gearhart. She's fairly new to the coast. I think she moved here within the last year, but she has an amazing portfolio of just some larger brands that she's
Did she move here from Portland or another?
Moved here from
in
California, and then before that, she was in New York.
Okay.
And then a lot of her portfolio, amazing, so, yeah.
JCC Communications.
So before we wrap this up, I just want to bring up the same thing about the possibility of using the elementary school
Yes.
for this event as well. So if you think of ways that you might be able to, that'd be fantastic.
I see tons.
So all day long. I
Right.
also own Cannon Beach Party Rentals, and so we donate all of that in kind during Women's Only and Blush Lux. But with the flip that we were doing last year at the chamber, I had hired 2 of my people to come and flip everything. It would be, using the school would be phenomenal for that, and just having stuff and movement around. So
Yeah.
it got really cumbersome, flipping the chamber like 4 times in a day.
Right.
So, but
Yeah. And off the bat, like the market would be a great place, I think, to host in the gymnasium. And, if we need that large of a space, a keynote session, which we have 2, would also be a great fit for that.
so right now we're thinking if it gets big, like we want it to be, like we could use Talabana Hall or, some of the other that we would just rent that. So that's
Our back.
we have backup plans for some things too.
Okay. Anybody have any
Oh,
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
enough for everything.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
everybody.
you. And let me get your wine check card.
Steve, you got one check card?
Probably
Oh, yeah. Gotta call
Have a
me.
good day, you guys.
see me on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Chamber.
We are right on time.
Right on time right now. Two chambers.
Right back.
Would I be able to use?
Absolutely. We're gonna take a short break.
Yeah.
It helps to get a good chair.
Let's get one.
Thanks for catching that, Steve. I'm not on target today. How did I miss a question about advertising?
I know. I saw that, but I thought,
Man, I'm really,
Julie's gonna ask this.
can't believe I'm falling down on the job.
Well, I thought he would ask a budget question. I had budget. So I'm let Jim ask that. I'm let Julie ask that.
Oh, God, shame on me. Hi, Jim.
How are you today?
Good. Monday. You never really know on Monday, but
I have a lot of questions about this.
Do you?
Oh, wait for another. Stop by and drink a little bit. I gotta run now, but.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, I know.
Bye, Hannah.
Bye, Hannah.
See you later.
So Julie, how it goes in the
It goes.
world of fabric and
It's okay.
stitching?
I'm staffed. That's
Good.
the good part.
By the way, my sun visor, my old truck
Yeah.
held up just fine.
Good. Glad to
Who's
hear
that?
it.
Who's that nice lady?
Chris.
Chris,
Yep.
she did a good job. She wouldn't take payment.
Nope. She didn't do it.
It wasn't
to
perfect.
her satisfaction.
I was like, are you kidding me? These are great. I'm like, no, I
Nope.
can't, no.
Said I didn't
All right,
get it
Chris.
where I wanted it, so I won't let him pay me.
It worked
It's like,
perfect.
okay.
They look good. Jim. You know, Karen knows how to do Disneyland. I don't know if you've noticed.
Karen,
it's,
Apple?
you're not aware that we're both Disney nerds?
Well, no, I know you, but just the Minnie Mouse outfit, God,
Oh, yeah,
of course, she told me she only wore the heels for the picture.
yes, only for the picture.
Yeah, because that'd be a little difficult.
Feels in Disneyland.
No,
no.
but Karen knows how to do Disney. She
Oh, yeah,
looks the part.
that was a super fun.
That was great. Well, I liked your, I love you. I know shirts. Those are good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Does Hannah have a lot of questions about this or something else?
So this,
Oh, I wonder what. I was hoping we get some Audubon goodness going with Hannah.
maybe we will.
Fun, good.
The bird watcher, famous bird watchers.
Oh, shit.
Actually, they have their own podcast. They're famous. Eric.
Travel around the world. They travel around the world.
I don't even,
Hannah and Eric go birding. It's a
Jim here.
podcast.
Wine guy.
Not me.
I'm not, you and I are not famous for anything.
And yet we love you.
Thank you. Break number one, right, Jen?
Good, Greg.
Oh, yeah, you are. Number one. Yeah, where's Greg Sweet?
Yeah, where is Greg Sweden?
Portland.
Oh,
He had some appointments got switched around, so I was hoping he could be here late, but.
Gotcha.
I've always thought Cannon Beach needed a summer street fair. And the school. would be ideal for that.
Sure.
Vendors,
Sure will.
it's so cool.
Yep.
That courtyard.
I want to get rid of the classrooms.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about.
I think.
They're useful. They're useful. They could be, if they were renovated, they could be very useful.
Oh,
They could be, but why not build a state of the art? Show a little patience, let the budget build.
Right,
Well, that's true. You could do that.
right.
By the time it's ready to be constructed, we'll have not only solar panels.
budget
but
might be
thermal
built.
Radiated diodes
Yeah,
off the backside.
Yeah.
To take the thermal cooling and.
Yeah.
Have they done the last of the community walks?
I think they did the third one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So now they're getting ready for schematic design.
Did you not get to,
I did not, I was not able,
you can coax Bruce into a
I'm
private
sure
tour if you
Bruce-
ask.
I'm
He
sure
loves
Bruce
to
could
show
be a
off.
Private one.
yep, I may do that
Yeah,
because
it's really, actually, it's kind of good.
I mean, it's been years since I've personally walked through it, but
The murals are fantastic.
oh, yeah.
I didn't think I'd like them. That when I got, really look at them, I'm like, you got to keep all this. You can't paint over it.
Okay.
All right, why don't we get back
Jim.
on this? And we've got next up Chamber of Commerce. and the Fat Bike Festival.
Yeah. That bike.
And we've read this, welcome, we've read the submission.
We haven't seen the final report yet, have we?
We don't have the final report yet. Question,
Do you want to talk about that at all? I mean,
sure, I can address that. Daniela, who runs the Fat Bike event for us, has been doing bike events for 9 straight weeks. Is just now taking a personal time, and she'll get back to me once she's back so that we can finalize that report and get it to you.
You have a few numbers in your head.
I do.
Okay,
I
good.
do. We had 31 participants in that. All of them were from out of town. So it does bring people to town. What I've noticed through many of different events that I've either attended or we've hosted, even Sandcastle included, most events are running about half, 50–60% of participants. At least more big major events. So I think that contributes to part of the numbers being down. People are still cautious with COVID. You're probably hearing that.
Forecast not good, but then it turned out fine.
It was supposed to be raining.
Yes, it was exactly,
And it was gorgeous.
exactly. We had that happen for Sandcastle too. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sandcastle.
Same deal.
we're a little blessed when it comes to weather lately. It'll change, I'm sure.
Surprise weather, not
Right.
Yeah.
nobody's planning to come to town.
planning to come.
I don't know if that's better or worse than to have nice forecasts and then have it be rainy.
Oh, that's true.
That's not as good.
I always like it when it's nice. But we will have the final report on that.
Okay.
I would kind of overall, that June is a really, really tough time for us to be working on these asks and reports because we have Fat Bike Sandcastle now 4th of July, plus our year end stuff as an organization. You know, we're making this happen, but to do it to the standard I would like to do it, it would be great if this was earlier in the year. Just, we'll move it earlier in the year for us. Because June was just a tough time.
Appreciate the feedback. Because we've moved it around, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your submission for next year.
5th year.
Yeah. Brief talk with Danielle, and they have some great, wonderful new ideas to include for next year, which I haven't fully fleshed out with them on what that is. But certainly we intend to continue the Friday events, Saturday events, Sunday night out. We have just really done go out and enjoy the ride yourself. We really haven't made an event out there other than encouraging every rider to go and experience it. So we're trying to work with the group that's organizing all that to put an event together. And they just haven't been willing to do that. Certainly, once they get around to participate, we'll include. It is a fun place for the bikers to get out and go to.
I've thought about that and thought that'd be kind of cool. Just a random idea, like a poker rally in Clutchie, like you sign up and you go out and find a thing you're supposed to find and get it'd be kind of a cool thing for that.
Plus they have all that promotional, I mean, it'd be great to have them involved just for nothing else but the outreach.
Right.
Because from when they were asking us for money, from what I remember is they have a heck of an outreach all through Oregon and Washington. So,
They do.
yeah.
And that's one of the great things about working with Daniela and Oregon Rides and Events is they have that connection as well.
Broad network.
Well, I think we've talked about this in previous years too, right? The way to connect the trail
Clutchie with Cannon Beach
with that.
and for the Fat
Yes.
Fest. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And for the last 2 years, we've encouraged people to go out there and ride the trails and experience the trails, but we haven't had a formal.
You could do an event. Yeah.
Event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a good idea. I had reservations, Jim, 5 years ago, for this, but this has turned out great. I
Yeah,
like the event. The right vibe for us.
totally laid back group
Yeah.
of people that really are getting out and enjoying. And the scavenger hunts turned out to be really a fun event for businesses to see that people are actually coming in and checking out their businesses and buying stuff.
It says it's the right demographic.
It is.
It's the right financial
It
demographic.
is,
It definitely identifies your target market.
Yep.
right.
Promotion.
So you had the passport again, we had one person come in.
Yeah.
Last year, we had a lot of people come in.
Yeah,
This year, we had one person come in.
the interesting thing is this year, we didn't do the stickers into the book. And I'm wondering if that had an effect on whether you knew people were coming in or not. Because if you were giving them a sticker, you made that connection.
Yeah.
Where this year we didn't have that.
I will also say that last year, we had people show up on their bikes, right? Park on our patio, come in, have a beer, a glass of wine or something. This year,
We didn't notice it.
yeah, so for us, there was a noticeable drop off of people coming to us. And I was just wondering if it was because there were fewer people or the passport wasn't promoted or, lack of a sticker or something to hit them all, because there was a prize, at least the 21, right? For somebody that fills up the passport book, they get something, right?
Yep, yep.
So, did you have the same thing this year?
We did do the same thing
Okay.
and
Some people lied. If they said they filled up that passport book this year, so.
One as far as you're.
One.
Yeah.
Only one person actually.
Prize winner.
We just don't know who it is. But
Self-checked it.
they self-check. So,
Yeah.
one of the interesting things we're gonna do with that passbook is, we just released from the chamber through the marketing program, our, Experience Cannon Beach app. In that app has a passport check-in. We can gamify that, so they'll actually have to go to your shop, check in at your shop.
yeah,
That way we will know that they've been there. So there won't be,
that seems to fit your demographic perfectly.
yeah, I want to be on there.
Tied to the place.
Where you get a sticker,
QR code on your counter. You just scan the damn thing. Yeah, the app makes a lot of sense.
It actually will work with GPS too, although
Yeah.
it's a little questionable in Cannon Beach.
Good town.
They'll be there.
Yeah, forget Midtown.
But they'll be there and they can check in, and whether it's a code or
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
or uploading a video or an image, there's 4 different ways they can check in. So we can make that happen. And we really looked, when we began the app, it's like, this is perfect because it's gonna gamify the whole event.
Mhm.
So you'll be able to go to each event and then we'll have some swag to give away if you reach certain levels.
That totally sounds like you're
There's gonna be a lot more
I like
active.
an image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they hashtag it, Experience Cannon Beach,
you're
hashtag fat tire or fat bike, and it loads on different places. Yeah.
And we kind of did a demo run with Sandcastle on that. And, we put things on there like thank a volunteer, choose your favorite castle, there's anything we can think of, we can put into that gamification. So I think it's going to be a lot more interesting and immersive when I work with Daniela on, because she isn't even aware of all the possibilities of this. I explained it to her a little bit. So she might be having some pretty big ideas with it. But we just need to get together and work out the details. So I think that's going to be a really great addition to that. If you haven't downloaded the app, you can go to your phone and download it now.
What's the app title?
Experience Cannon Beach.
I have not.
I have not.
I need to do that.
gonna have to do it.
We just released the app early June, right before Sandcastle. Has a lot more work to do, like a website or anything that's continuously being built. We're excited about what it can do for all of our events, honestly.
Mark, what did your marketing plan, your attendees heard about the event too from television? Did we get on
From
television
television.
news or something?
Daniela is very great about reaching out and having the connections, and she somehow or another every year gets on TV. I'd have to talk to her about what
Okay.
the details are of that, but
There's enough local Portland shows about, what to do in Oregon, blah, blah, the trail riders. That's where I heard about the trail riders thing. I mean, I didn't know that she'd
gotten anything on tech.
I know that
That's great.
one of the stations had reached out to her. I forget which one. She was on a morning show 2 years ago
Okay,
and did a little demo. I think she got that connection 5 years, so at least she got snippet
Mhm.
for the TV.
So all 31 are from out of town.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Greg's leg was hurt.
I was gonna say, I
That's true.
got a tire bike, maybe I need.
Everybody, his leg is hurt.
I can say not all participants were.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
Alan, who just started working for us, was part of the event because he needed to experience that.
Oh, yes.
event.
Okay.
This came on in May, so it was perfect timing. And he owns a fat bike, so I said, you're doing the run this year.
Okay.
The year I rode that, oh, I couldn't sit down for a week. Not used to riding.
yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Jim. As you know, the city has purchased the elementary school. I know you have your own hall, but do you see any opportunities for either this event or other chamber events to be taking advantage of the facilities over at the elementary school?
That's a big question. Certainly, when we look back at stormy weather or other events where we rent the surf sand, we needed that bigger space for bigger events. Surf sand is really looking up their hall and it's not as available to us anymore. Because a discounted local event when they can get full price for their space just doesn't happen. And our space is limited to how big it is. So certainly if there's, when that facility is complete and ready to go, I can see us using it for a lot of events. Fat Bike has used that space when we first did this event to start from there because it's a nice, easy out to the beach, right? And the access there. We've used that as a starting point in the past. This year we used the chamber hall just because we didn't have the. We're working on construction. Not gonna jump into that event to combine those two. But yeah, I can see a lot of event options, stormy weather, music there, which just seems to be a big push for that base. Like everything, when I look at an event and I listen to the meetings, I'm always concerned when they say we don't have parking, we might do different things with the restrooms and a smaller kitchen as opposed to a bigger kitchen. I look at an event space, if you build it, then people will come and use it. But if you pare it down and then try to build on afterwards, you're going to eliminate people from using that space because it doesn't have what they need. We face that with our space. It doesn't have a commercial kitchen. It doesn't have a catering kitchen. It's a basic home kitchen. Every caterer that comes in there says, I wish you had more. I wish it was more. And we've talked at the chamber about redoing the kitchen so that it can help and fit the caterers. That's a pretty big spend to make it happen. Wish it had been done before, but someday we hope to get there. But of course, if that space turns into a big space with a nice kitchen, maybe our little kitchen might be good enough for what we have. But I want to make the space usable, and I would encourage the city to build it out as much as possible. To your point, Jim. Just you,
No, thank you for that.
but we'll use it.
Do you have commercial vendors that are partners like, River City or any of these bicycle shops from Portland that participate in this? Do we have any? I did the bridge pedal years ago and they'd be all over the place. Like your bike breaks down, they're right there. They can help you fix it. That kind of,
We do. Danielle own a bike shop in Newport. And so they are able and available. So their entire staff can.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes. We've also talked with other big bike, like fat bike companies.
Yep.
to come down and be a part of this event too. Timing hasn't worked out in the past. I believe that'll be coming in the future.
Good.
Yeah, COVID really threw
Yeah.
a wrinkle into the plans of this event, ever growing to where we believe it can grow to.
I'm good.
Yes. Okay. And thank you.
That's not that.
So the next one is the video production.
This is, video project. And we've been creating the videos which live on our Experience Cannon Beach YouTube page. This past year, what we did, being that most events weren't happening or were pared down and smaller, we were trying to figure out how to transition this project. And we'll have the final report of that for you as soon as well. But what we've done is I tasked more through our events and pull out 15-second and 30-second snippets that could be used on media or for commercial type options that we'll be sharing with all the different events and for us to use for our promotional. It was something that wasn't really brought up until the last couple of years that we needed to include that, and so including those to make sure that to promote their events. That was kind of the whole key behind this event, was to work with TAC events and our other community events to build these video assets so that they could be used. And Julie, you've asked us, I don't know how many times, how is that coordination working? And we know it's not working as optimal as it could. So I'm considering the idea, and this is my idea that I'm gonna throw your direction for some input, hopefully. That the video project and the other things, in your TAC application, you say, are you working with the chamber? And Lila came and asked me this last week. She walked in and said, so it says in the application, we should work with you. What can you do? What can you do to help us? I'm not sure that that's ever been put out. TAC people, so they just see the line item and it's a yes or no question. So either yes, they're working with us, or no, they're not working with us. But there's a lot we can do to help all of these events happen. Different TAC projects, maybe that's, I'm not sure if it's not an event, what we can do to help, but certainly we want to promote and get the word out of all the events, because everything that goes out can help bring more people to town. So we want to be a part of that. That's really what we do as the Visitor Center and the Chamber of Commerce, through our website, through press releases, through videos. We're trying to build all these assets so that we can get the word out as best we can.
I think the goal there is that we don't want each event to be in a silo. We want the event to be talking to the chamber and using some of the chamber's expertise in marketing, advertising, getting the word out.
Yep.
And assisting these events and these organizations in kind of expanding their reach, right? Because they've got all their database of their customer list, right? But they can cross-pollinate with the chambers. And the other thing is the more that these organizations or the events can spread the wealth in other businesses and restaurants and shops and lodging in the community, benefits all of us, right? It benefits the community. And
Absolutely.
the idea there is to kind of get out of your silo, talk to the chamber and see how you guys can work together. So that was the thought there.
Yeah, that's a big
Surprise.
it's not, it's
but
really not a surprise.
Right, but
It's a big and a big work and big thing for just a simple question. Are you working with the chamber? Right? Doesn't really identify that for us and doesn't identify that for the other events. So one of the things I want to work on, and I believe the video project will be a part of that, is a list of here's what the chamber can do and can help you. Video project, website, getting that word out and working together. Because certainly we don't want events. That other events are happening, which can sometimes happen when people try to bring in new events. That we've already done something, or we know that having an event on Mother's Day weekend isn't always that great. So we can offer advice on helping you organize your event, because we do 5 major events, well, 6 now. Each year. So we work on that all the time, and we're always working the next event. So I think we have some expertise that we can help and share with them.
Well, maybe what we do is we can go back and adjust the language in the question and say, instead of, do you have a collaboration plan with the chamber, is what is your collaboration?
What is it?
With the chamber? And so instead of it being a yes, no answer, it is a description. Tell us.
And that would probably be beneficial. They'll still have the same question for me though.
Right.
And you
What can you
do,
do?
Right.
That's
so
true.
we need to be prepared and ready to answer that and provide that service. And
Yeah, that's what the chamber does.
Yeah.
That's part of your sales pitch, to say, these are the benefits of joining, and this is what you get for your dollars. So you should be able to identify those potentials.
And I can speak to that all day, but a formal written out, here's what we can do for your event. I don't think we really have that yet. So
Well, why don't you?
in the works.
Okay,
It's an area that I identified because
Sure.
we began the video project. The whole idea was to help tag events by helping creating the videos.
Right.
And I just think it would be better. It's almost if you flip the script, if an event says, hey, we want to do a video, but work with the chamber because they're creating this video project, rather than us wanting to create any video for your event, then maybe you don't want one.
We had that conversation earlier today.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm not sure you were here for the early part of Bridget's thing, where she actually already has a videographer coming to her event, and this is what they've done and all that kind of stuff. So I would want to make sure it's already in their budget. They've already done it. They started doing it last year.
Mhm.
It would be great to be able to give those snippets that we didn't ask. I forgot to ask her if that videographer is doing the editing and making the things for her to be able to use. But if they are, I hope that you guys would put those up on the YouTube page and say, hey, here's another thing that we do, even though it's not Seth.
That's just it. It shouldn't have to be that one person. We can help make that happen. And if you work as a group, we get a really good rate with Seth because we're doing several projects, not just one. So I don't know what they're paying for the videographer.
$2,500.
And maybe that's a better deal than what I'm getting. So maybe I should talk to him. But Seth has been a great partner and they've worked really hard to provide all the things we've asked for.
Oh, I actually am seeing Bridget tomorrow. I'll talk to her about that, and maybe he has specialized stuff that's makeup oriented. I don't know, but I'll talk to her about that tomorrow.
And 500 is
That's pretty ingrained.
Yeah.
So,
But I would love to have access to those videos so that we can promote that event as well. So that was, in my mind, what was really good for us to collaborate on that was then we can use those for all of our marketing efforts, put it on the website, start that ball rolling, because video is really the future and where everything's going. So we got to get out there with it.
Good. Do you have anything else for us, Jim?
Anything, Jim?
No, those are the 2 events.
Okay.
great.
Questions?
I think I got all
Thank
mine.
you, Jim.
All right.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Good seeing you.
Always good.
Two.
I love it. Yeah, that was.
All right, see you guys.
Good, Jim.
Jim.
Later.
Thank you.
I'm not the chair, but I'm sure Stephen would say the same thing.
Lila. Hi, Lila.
Hi.
So I have handouts.
Oh, handout. No cookies, no cookies.
No cookies, no chocolate.
Next time.
Claudia used to always bring
yeah.
chocolate to these meetings, darn.
Yeah.
25 years.
I think you
Since
guys.
the last one?
Uh-huh. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Other book. I know that Julie's seen it. I've seen this one.
Dog one.
Yeah.
Dog one, yeah, it's cute.
Those were just our fun projects. Anyway, I'm Lila Wickham with the Cannon Beach Arts Association. I'm the treasurer, and this is Summer Peterson. Summer's been with us for 5 years. She started as an intern and then an art campus assistant, and now she's our marketing director. She just finished her degree this year. So Summer came because you have a lot of questions about marketing, and that's her expertise.
No, good.
My first question is on the first page. There's no initial on the COVID.
Oh,
I take it you are following the COVID protocols. Okay,
must have printed it off and.
do you have, so we've all read the mission. Are there any details you can go into about this, the things that you want to talk about with this, or?
Well, the biggest thing is, our mission is to support artists and art.
Right.
And so everything we do is focused around that. Like everybody else knows, COVID was a really challenging time. We had to do our art day. We didn't do our art day. We did our art camp virtually 2 years in a row. And it just doesn't resonate with people. It's just, and people are exhausted from Zoom.
Yep.
So anyway, our focus this year has been on doing summer art camp in person, and Summer's going to be leading that up. And she already has more than 75 children signed up, so we're very excited about that. This is the first year we actually did art day in different venues. And Summer headed that one up too, but one was at the middle school at Seaside and one was at the high school at Seaside and Fire Mountain and the city of Cannon Beach. And kids loved it as a whole group. We weren't asking for money for art day from you. I didn't bring it. So primarily that's been our focus. One of the biggest challenges post-COVID, although we'll never be post-COVID, but one of the biggest challenges is all of that money that was available to us for infrastructure during COVID has pretty much gone away. It's all back to deliverables again, which is fine. We can deliver, but it doesn't just support your infrastructure. With the exception of the Oregon Arts Commission, we've got probably $4,000 this year from them because they're still trying to do that to support arts associations. So the bottom line is we have really good staff. We've had them for quite some time now. Scott's been with us for 3 years, and they are what makes our organization work. When we did it primarily by volunteers, we didn't have the kind of sales we have now because volunteers don't necessarily know how to sell.
Right.
And they aren't necessarily entrenched in the world of art, so they can't speak in a way that's engaging. So we really like the model we're in, and we want to retain that model. But bottom line is it takes money. And our 3 primary sources of income are memberships, donations, sponsorships is one, but that's not a huge one. Grants, which, like I said, have diminished in the availability, and our sales. So like art camp, is not a moneymaker. It's a money spender.
Sure, of course.
So the reason that,
Public service, right?
yes, exactly.
Community service.
So the focus of this application is really about the shoulder season. And it's being sure that we can retain Summer and Scott at the level that they've been working, and so that we can continue our forward momentum. So it's the primary budget item, as you can see, is staffing. And then all of this is based around October through April. So it's the things that we do in that time frame. That wasn't too rambly.
Is the night market, what's the cost of a booth at the night market?
So it's not by booth. The artists just come in. It's free for them technically. And then if they sell something, they get 70% of their sale.
Okay, thank you.
And tell them how much you made last year.
Oh, goodness. I can't remember.
Testing your memory.
I know. I think we made 1,500.
Okay.
And
That's after the artist got 70%. Or is that total gross sales?
I think that's gross sales.
is that the same kind of split? Or, oh, the gallery is 60-40.
60-40, okay. There needs to be you couldn't see from Hemlock. It seems like you couldn't see from Hemlock that it was all behind.
Could you get a permit for us?
Oh, no, don't even get me started. I understand, believe me. So I'm trying to think of, is there a way to? Well, you probably could. Can you do something on the porch?
We explored that before and they told us no.
Not a sign, but that you can have something on the porch?
Like balloons or?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Like, could the night market be on the porch and in the gallery and in the back? Something that you pull someone out from Hemlock and go all the way through the gallery and to the back. So that it's clear that there's something going on and that the other merchants would say, oh, and keep going into the gallery. And then there's somebody that can lead them to the outside.
Yeah, so last year it's during our gallery reception. So we have all the doors open and then we have a little sign that says event tonight that we put out there. And then we also have live music, which brings people in. So they can hear it from.
Anything that's out in the front there to
Grab attention up front.
through, because I noticed that one of my employees was actually in the night market. And she was like, nobody knew that we were back there. That was the tricky part. And it's like, and I looked over there as I was leaving work and it's like.
Why does it have to be
you
that
can't
hard?
really tell that there's something going on behind.
Yeah, well,
It's just no outdoor.
for sure.
I know, no sandwich sign, no sandwich boards.
Right.
God,
You got busted for what?
you'd think you could get a,
Oh, having stuff going on in the parking lot.
right,
I don't know.
They closed me
I called.
Steve
Closed
called
me down.
Well, Steve did. He called.
Which time?
It was for spring unveiling.
Was it this year?
Oh, wait a minute. This,
Years ago?
oh, this year.
This year? Because we.
Last year, they leaned on me because we had artists in our parking lot demonstrating work. Good God. Sales weren't happening out there.
Yeah, why
The
would,
artists were there.
But now we have the special event permit.
You can do plein air.
I know.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't-
well, that might be a possibility for you with a special event permit as
Yeah,
well.
a special event permit. I mean,
I was even.
that's got to get easier to get.
Why aren't they out on the deck?
Not you.
It's
Not directing that at you.
Permit application is actually pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you have more than 200 people, you only have to fill out 3 pages. You kind of explain what it is you want. The department heads review it, and that's where you can do things that have signage and other things that you're not supposed to have outside. So you have a food truck.
You have a food truck, Lila. You have a food truck.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely check out
Every day is a special
options.
event.
And if you're a nonprofit, there's no charge for this.
Well, there you go.
Next question.
There's no charge. It's
If
free.
you're a nonprofit.
If you're a nonprofit.
Yes,
And if you're for profit,
there is a fee. It varies because there's a private party, a minor event and a major event, and each of them have different levels. I think the most expensive is like 100 or 200. But that's the major one, which is over 200 people.
We're on a roll here, Jen.
And all events that are TAP related, that's part of their application process now. It reminds them they have to fill out a special event permit. Tracy Abel was our guinea pig. She was our first one ever. We went through the process with her a couple of years ago, or because they didn't end
See,
up.
Jim, you just didn't have a special event permit. You blew it.
Right.
That's why Sinclair called on you.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Sign away.
Well,
The only other thing we asked for besides the staffing and then some of the, like a portion of the rent and all that is another printing of the dog portrait book. We printed 40 copies and they all sold. And since we give the proceeds to the disaster animal response team, it's just like pass-through money.
Okay.
But it feels good to give to other community members.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
hey, Lila, under scholarships, I made myself a note here, but I don't know if are these Seaside students receive scholarships from CBA. Is that funded by ACT funds or is that funded by?
Usually it's the community grant.
Okay, that's my question.
Although I had a question on that. What is expected in return for the scholarship from the recipients?
So there's an application and Nancy Kroll, one of our board members, is the one who reviews the applications. And what she's looking for is somebody who's interested in art, or what we're looking for, somebody who's interested in art and is going to be attending art school and that they will use the funds for supplies or whatever they need.
Education.
But we don't expect anything from them except to go and.
Well-deserving student needs to go forth and flourish.
Yeah.
You guys, and this is where my lack of familiarity, but I assume you've got a website.
We do.
Oftentimes when those scholarships hit, then they ask the recipient to kind of write up a bio and kind of what they've used those funds for. That might be
It's an idea.
something for your own promotion as well.
It's a good thought.
So in addition to your artists, the receptions and the virtual exhibits, what you've normally asked us for, the Place for Dogs is one of the additional ones that you're asking for. Okay, but the ask is pretty much for doing the same thing that we've done in the past. Okay.
But we just keep trying to expand our role. Like the art day this year I was pretty impressed that Summer could pull off 4 different art days, 4 sets of teachers and all those little students.
Is that kind of like an art literacy type presentation on the artist and then an on-hands project about the artist, or what's the format?
It's kind of like art in schools. So we provide materials and curriculum. And then I tried to get unique artists, like we had a music guy come in and teach songwriting and just like broaden the horizons of the regular curriculum that's in schools.
Okay.
That sounds
Yes.
wonderful.
I'm still a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I love the Sitka format, so I've always kind of thought we could, this town should have something like that. And you guys are kind of on the cusp of it, making that bigger.
Yeah, it was.
I like that.
So as we're talking about educational opportunities, question to you is, now that the city owns the elementary school,
Yes.
how? So then the follow-up question is, how would you see you guys using the elementary school facility?
So we could do workshops there, art workshops.
Yeah.
We could have the event that night event in a bigger space. We could have, that Sea Star thing that we did
Yep.
last year. I thought it'd be really fun to do that with summer art camp kids, but the parking lot at the church does not lend itself to that. It's they don't get run over, right? It's a bad thing. But it could be really fun to be at the school and this videographer that he's got now could take a video of the kids and we'd have them become an octopus or whatever.
Yeah, without getting run over.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the courtyard.
So yeah, we're really looking forward.
Okay. Do you have anything else for us?
Actually, Summer found this cool report in Square that I didn't know about. And it relates to your question of returning attendees. So I'm sure you can't see this, but there's little blips on it.
Yeah.
And it tells you who's new attendees and who's returning. And so for our next report, we'll be able to at least fill in.
Can you just speak to that, the data on there without getting into specifics? Just give us like a high level summary of that.
Purchases.
Yeah. It's our credit card transactions, and it doesn't include the cash sales, and then it doesn't include the people that don't buy anything.
Right.
But we have like about 1,000 credit card transactions, and then the data, you guys be helpful if you guys could see it, but we have about double new customers compared to returning customers.
Oh, that's good.
That's a very encouraging number.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great.
That's, how long have you had the Square? How long is that data good? I mean,
This is from October to now, so that's.
October, wow, last year.
Anyone?
Gotcha. Okay.
We've had this for a long
Oh,
time.
you have.
So
Okay.
it could have gone back, but she was just focused on, the year that we're reporting on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, current fiscal.
And the only other thing I'd add is we haven't built our budget for 2023 yet. So this is just a proposed budget. You kind of have to make it up based on how's it going this far. So just so you know that.
Good.
Okay.
Any other questions from the committee?
Under your marketing plan, Lila, it says, under digital advertising, local and regional arts focused online newspapers. Who are those? Do you have a name of one of those? Just curious.
Like, you mean the Hip Fish?
Is that what you're like,
Yeah, the Hip Fish and just local publications.
online publication?
Yeah, Coast Weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's the 300 people in your database? Is that, the postcards, that?
Yeah, it's 416 and it comes from Little Green Light, which is our member database, and then anybody who signs up for postcard or mailings.
Okay.
People still like their physical postcards.
Mhm. Some people,
It's
it's a thing.
We tried to get away from them because, we're all living in this digital world and people were like, we want our postcards.
No, the History Center told us that earlier today.
Yeah, some of that works for some.
And it goes to who your customer is, right? Right. Older customers probably like that more than younger customers.
And artists.
Artists like to have a piece of art.
Style.
Art tactile, right? Feel, that's right.
Pretty picture.
Yeah, I get it.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Well,
Thank you.
thanks, everybody, for your.
Thank you, Lila.
Really appreciate it.
Yes, your contribution to the community.
I'm taking care.
Oh, yes, you need your
This-
books.
Yes, of course.
Very nice.
Is that? And did we fund you entirely last year?
Oh, no.
Almost.
No, I don't, it's right,
80%.
Yeah.
We've,
it doesn't.
It really.
I thought it did on here.
I'm just,
This is.
Well, that's partly because
we'll do better.
that funding you didn't get.
Okay. Well, it's what they.
This thing
what they
doesn't
asked for
have last year.
This year versus what they received last year. I was just wondering if they got 100% last year.
You want to know what the ads last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice to see for the year.
Didn't we,
Well,
Jen,
we
didn't we
will-
used to have it on here? Didn't we
Well-
have last year's on here as well?
That would show up on the voting day.
Will it show up on the one you send us so we can play with online?
Yeah,
What is that one? Well, okay, so let me just do this one. Let me go do this one.
okay.
I'm sure they asked was $3,640
Right, so you get.
and the first
We got
was
90%.
$30,686.
30,680.
But
but it was a really nice.
30 grand doesn't suck.
We'll do better, Lila.
There's a history that I usually send to council, so I'll update that.
Yeah.
to You guys.
Thanks, Jen.
That way you'll have that, and then the spreadsheet just has this current has.
Right.
Yeah, has the current year.
The history of that.
That would be
wonderful.
useful.
Thank you, Jennifer.
That goes all the way back for quite a while.
Right.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
So when you sent this to us in digital form, correct? I just need to go back, search for your name.
I just resent it because I just sent out the agenda for next Monday's meeting.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
Thank you.
don't forget to do that.
So I can play around with it.
In PDF and Excel, and then I'll do the history. We'll probably need a bar.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Columana Arts Colony. Welcome.
Okay. You ready to go?
So yes, I think we're ready to go. We've read your submission. And Andrew, we'll turn it over to you to kind of talk about it. And then
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty darn familiar to you guys. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, because time is different these days. When we met here last year, at this time, vaccines were just becoming available. We all thought that everything was going to be normal again. And when it came to, to the fall, to get this thing rolling, Delta was raging, things were not open yet. It became entirely stressful to me to contemplate trying to pull it off in that window. So we returned the money, and we're basically just, let's just say the last year didn't happen, and starting from that same point again. So
we appreciate that intro. That's level setting, right? And we haven't had that. And I think that was a really nice intro and way to start this. So thanks.
Well, that was also just my explanation for sending you the same basic grant receipt. I mean,
Then, right?
yeah, I mean, we didn't,
But no, that's a nice start. And
spend any money. I spent time in my own head contemplating it, and
Sure.
at the end, kind of holding out for a miracle, but it just didn't seem like the prudent thing to do at the time. And should it not be, should there be another wrench in the thing? I mean, I think, I'm only going to do it if it's right. If we can make it, worth the money, worth people's time, worth my time, worth the committee's time. I think this is definitely one of the events that's, it's an indoor event. It's dependent on these, the public health situation being right. It's not, an outdoor or spaced out kind of thing that it just won't succeed that way. And that's, but yeah, I mean, to take away the doom and gloom of it a little bit, it is something that people still ask me about a lot. They want to see comedy shows back here. The growing event, I would call it an event, but like Astoria, they're doing these now, the little comedy shows at the Liberty Theater, which is growing the audience. I wish they would, I think they could book it a little better, but that's my own. But I mean, it just shows that there is a growing interest in this. The Liberty is too big for where the audience is at. I think the Coaster and Tollivana Hall are perfect for it. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. I mean,
Is Coaster Theater on board? You're seeking an in-kind donation?
yeah, and they have begun rehearsing at Tollivana Hall again, so we have a pretty, symbiotic relationship. And I put in the budget in case we have to, rent the place, just to account for that. But I can't speak for them, but I think there's a very good chance we would receive an in-kind donation or a greatly discounted rate.
And are you one night or 2 night?
2 nights.
It is 2 nights.
Friday, Saturday.
Okay, and then, so in your budget, it looks like you have 12 performers, are you, 6 one night, 6 the other? Okay, just checking.
Wait, no, 6, that sounds too many.
Well, it says
1, 2,
headline.
I said
times
2. Yeah, no, you're right. Okay. And that would be, that's an ideal, full funding size
Sure. Oh, no, I get,
lineup.
and so you're gonna have 2 headliners.
Yeah, you have to have a host, you have to have a feature, and you have to have a headliner. So you have to have 3. And, more. So there's probably the way I would do it is take the biggest performer that we're able to get, put them on Saturday night. There's another type of comedy lineup where you have more comedians in a rapid fire kind of way, which is fun in its own right, because if you're not really feeling it, 15 minutes, it's on to the next. So you kind of do like a cavalcade of the smaller acts on Friday.
That's kind of what
big headliner draw.
Lana was, it seemed like there was
Exactly.
a lot of them fast. And then there was an obvious headliner on the Saturday, and there was still a few people, but it wasn't quite as fast as what you did on Friday.
Exactly.
Both of those were fun, so.
And your date is the season,
Yeah.
spring, fall.
Yeah.
This is one reason I was inquiring about whether Coaster was on board, because you specific dates.
One, I mean, like, this really can be a winter time, it doesn't have to we don't have to push it until the edge of the blackout dates to try to, capitalize on weather. It's better in the, in the winter time when it's dark out.
Unique comedy.
Yeah. But also, if a performer has, the ideal performer, because they're traveling every weekend, so if I'd hate to miss out on the best performer because we were locked into February 2nd, when February 13th could allow that to.
And if you have winter, spring 2022, I'm assuming it's winter 2022, spring 23.
Yes.
Yes, okay, gotcha.
And I think it's more of a January, February thing than when we all know how dead town gets between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's also other, travel and, other kinds of, what is the word? We have things we have to be doing. We have family obligations and other things. That's the word, obligations. So I feel like it's a 23.
Okay.
Always in need of a laugh in February.
And again, just hearing the earlier presentation, I am of the, and maybe, and it does probably speak to this audience, but I am of the opinion that print media advertising is overpriced for the returns. I'm leaning more towards targeted media advertising and trying to get press in a print magazine is a different story than a little corner, next to 15 other ones.
Read.
So the goal of there is to get somebody like the Willamette Week to write up, and they've been, and I've noticed that they've been writing more about Oregon at large and coastal things, like they had, they're mentioning what happened at the buoy collapse, and they're mentioning, other kinds of things that are happening out here. So I think that would be my main.
So do you have a timing structure for when you're going to do promotional things? In advance and how you're going to promote things in a sequence of messages?
A sequence of messages. The message is just come to the Beach Comedy Festival. I guess I haven't thought of.
The marketing calendar, right?
Yeah, a marketing calendar, like if there's
When you're gonna do it.
save the date, then a little more information as a reminder. And then maybe another release with total details. How do you put the information out?
That's what I did recently with our Putts event. Started with save the date, and then what trickling out information, not all at once. So yeah, I take into account what you're saying. I don't have a calendar in my head or on my spreadsheet there yet, but that's how it would go.
And when will you decide on the date?
Once we can book a headliner.
Okay.
Okay.
And then is there, I assume that the comedians themselves are also sharing.
That's part in the marketing plan. Yeah, that's a big one is, you know, them getting their own social media out.
Yeah.
And they're all, you know, like that's part of their job.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be in touch with their audience better than any publication, you know. And that's one thing I would insist on with headliners is kind of blackout around Portland in that time. You know, that you're not going to play Portland coming in, going out, or within a certain amount of months. So there's that, you know, so they're not
Pent up.
overexpending there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So Andrew, now that the city owns the elementary school, see possibilities to utilize the elementary school during the year?
Do it for just this or for any old thing?
This or during the year?
Absolutely. There's certain, I mean, we've always, you know, our founders were long proponents of moving tech stuff there. I think first, the thing that comes to mind is like if we're doing a concert in the park and it gets rained out, something like that. I would like to do larger concerts in the wintertime. And there's just not a, you know, for what I like, the kind of music I like, the Coaster is not the ideal concert venue. There's not, you know, I like people to be able to stand, people to be able to dance, you know, and but yeah, like other events such as, you know, anything that outgrows Sullivan Hall, I suppose, you know, like we get requests sometimes, like a salsa dance group wants to come and we're like, you know, there's not enough, you might be able to dance in here, but there's not going to be room for an audience. Or things that grow, like, you know, it's tough. We're right at we're almost at the capacity, you know, the fullness of things like the Holiday Bazaar could expand there. It'll be interesting to see. When I do events, I really like intimacy. I don't, you know, like if you go like to add like 3 more tables to our Holiday Bazaar and then be in a cavernous gym would make it feel like you don't have as much stuff, even though you're adding more. There is something about, you know, people being together. Obviously, you know, I mean, like, but you know, when we did our Ukrainian fundraiser a couple of months ago, I mean, we were at the capacity of what, you know, the amount of people. I mean, there was people who kind of poked their head in the door and might have come back later, you know, so there's plenty of options for that sort of stuff. And then I would like to see, and, you know, we can be involved in it, however, you know, the basketball court, indoor sports stuff is there. We could be involved in game nights and yeah, all kinds of things. Yeah. So I don't think there's any limit, but it's just about whether it, you know, whether it works numbers wise and it doesn't hurt an event, because it could if you go somewhere too big.
Sure.
But yes, plenty of things.
Do you have anything else for us?
Thank you.
Anything else for?
Thanks, Andrew.
All right, thank you.
There's a lot of extra money left over now that we're not funding Saver, so we're probably good.
We'll just line that out.
Gary's here, sorry. Yeah. He's up there and there. Good to see you again, Tracy. Haven't seen you forever.
I know.
We're ready for
Gary Hay.
Saver. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, Gary.
Welcome, welcome. So we've read the application submission.
Yep.
And if you'd like to talk about your submission, we'll ask you questions.
Okay. Rubel? I'll second what Andrew said about strange times. But I think we did a good job last year of kind of anticipating, actually, because kind of anticipating what what it would look like on the ground with the coronavirus at that point. And it was kind of surging again. But what we proposed last year was to do a whole month of micro events. And it was surprisingly good. Most of those events sold out. Give us an opportunity to kind of nudge up the quality of all of the events. So all in all, that worked out good, and we liked it so much.
Doing it again?
That kind of see that continuing into the future. But we're looking at doing 2-month-long promotions. So rather, we did the month of October last year. We'd kind of like to bring back March, which we had done previously, and bring back the month-long Saber Dungeness Crab event. It was not necessarily an event, but it was something that promoted all the restaurants for the entire month. However, we'd like to add an event, at least one event to that. Then some of these smaller micro events, we'd like to look at dates throughout the year. It might make sense to continue doing some of these smaller, more premium events. And then October, we're looking at doing something along the line of the Dungeness Crab Month and doing a Chowder Month here. And with that, we'd also like to add an event that would, I see it as being a chowder tasting and hopefully a competition where people can maybe taste chowders blind and pick a favorite, and a Cannon Beach restaurant can claim that they won the chowder challenge.
Chowder Fest.
Chowder challenge.
Chowder challenge.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, so we're still being a little bit cautious about planning anything that puts a lot of people in a crowd in one room. So maybe we're being overly cautious. I hope that's true. But I think in a lot of ways, we had grown this event to have a pretty significant economic impact. And as you know, we led the way in dealing with coronavirus because we were shut down.
You were number one.
Yep, we were shut down.
I was there that day. Yeah, that's right.
So we're just proceeding with caution, but feels like this new formula will give us a way to have maybe a bigger economic impact, and maybe it's more appropriate. We always got mixed feedback on the big Saber Cannon Beach wine walk, where some people loved it. The participants loved it. The wineries actually loved it. They thought we were probably the most serious wine event out there, as opposed to some of the others that become just big parties. But then there were a fair number of people who thought it was too much alcohol, too short amount of time. So I think that we're on to something here that may have greater impact for the community.
So as you change the format, because you did, you changed the format of Saber completely from a weekend of larger events to a month of these more intimate, smaller events. What feedback did you get from the attendees in fall? Because some of them really liked the wine walk that disappeared, but others liked so what was the feedback?
I get asked regularly if we're bringing the wine walk.
Sure.
And I'm like,
So do I.
not right away is my answer, but Tracy can pipe in anytime she wants to, because she was very much involved in it this last year. I think universally, the events, people really enjoyed the small events and kind of some special premium wines. So, we did the Thursday night pre-dinner wine tastings at the bistro, and we were able to do things like feature 10-year-old red wines. We did one called the Pinot Noir Challenge, which we let people taste some high-end Oregon Pinot Noir. We slipped a French Burgundy in there and a $20 bottle of Pinot Noir, and did it blind, so people would have to try to guess what was what. They love that kind of stuff. So I like it going back to Sabre Canyon Beach being about learning about wine, being, a lot about wine education. I felt like that's what we did. And I wouldn't want to give up on that moving forward. Yeah, we did the wine and art experiences in the galleries. So every week we did 3 different events. Starting on Thursday. And I liked the gallery events. It kind of brought the art component into it, where we, previously it was mainly the wine walk that brought in the art component. So this was more of a direct correlation. So we learned a lot about doing that kind of smaller event. And I don't know, Tracy, you anything to add about the way people felt about the small events?
That the art is really just to include the galleries. I think the way that it was set up, and we're going to do it a little bit different. We learned a lot from it, but for example, at Jeffrey Hull, we were able to feature him as an artist. So they wasn't just about the wine, but it was also about the gallery. And I thought that was a really nice relationship that we had. And Jim, you can speak to it, because we did have one at Ice Fire, and a lot of people were shopping afterwards.
Well,
We were happy about.
yeah, we went into this. I've had to declare one aspect that was huge, in terms of revealing potential conflict, or to take into perspective on my input in this. But essentially, 2/3 of our sales that day, which was a good day during the daytime before, actually occurred after we closed with the wine event. So effectively, for that one day, our sales tripled. I think that
rather than, people running from business to business and tasting wines, this gave them a chance to slow down and so that's something. Other people said they loved the wine walk because they got to visit different businesses they might not necessarily go into. So there's some pluses and minuses. There was wine there.
Yeah. Really the feedback that people want that wine walk back. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
The Saturday wine walk, the big one.
Wow.
And I think all of the people who made purchases in our business were new to our business.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Good.
That's exactly what you want.
That's right.
Yeah.
Customers.
The other thing that we did, which I thought was a really amazing event, was we did a wine pairing dinner at Seasons, and it was seafood. It was small plates and wine. And there may be a couple of locals, but it really was people just coming to that event. And Doug did a fantastic job, and we were excited to do it again.
We did that with Blosser, who came in and poured wines for that. So again, it was an educational thing. It was teaching people about wine pairing and what wines pair with seafoods. So it was.
I also think that these people that are coming to these small intimate events and buying these tickets are going to be repeat customers to Cannon Beach. So they're not just here for this crazy wine walk weekend. You know what I mean? They're really, they're coming in and they're doing these events, and they like to see these events. And
they'll be back for maybe other events or just coming back to Cannon Beach for the beauty, the art and the wines. So
Did you see?
Probably a little higher end market than the wine walk attracted, because the way we set it up with doing everything, instead of doing an event that overlapped with dinner, we did all events that led up to dinner. And so people had to rush out of our events to get to the restaurants because they had reservations. So it felt like the economic impact of it was, and supporting business part of it was very good.
Well, they felt like more upscale events. The smaller and like the galleries, people weren't running from, not running, but like moving strictly from gallery to drink wine. They were at the gallery while they were having wine. So it felt a little bit different. But my question to you is, did you see people coming for more than one weekend? Like they came this weekend because you had this tasting going on or this Pinot Noir challenge, and then they came back the next weekend because you had the big red 10-year tasting. Did you see people coming multiple weekends? Is that something you can track or?
I don't know that it was multiple weekends, but it was multiple events during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we use Eventbrite, so we get all of that data. So we know, we would know if there were repeats. I don't know if there were repeats from week to week,
Okay.
but some people did come and did the whole weekend
Sure.
of events.
That makes perfect sense.
Were they all people who'd done Savor Cannon Beach before? Was there anybody new?
There were definitely new people.
We had some credits still that.
Yeah.
To be.
Right, I knew that.
Right.
And so those people, those were.
Came back.
Other than that, a lot of people, I feel like it was a new crowd that we were seeing.
Interesting.
And new people and pretty serious about the wines to do some of these events.
When I try to flip my perspective from me looking at the event to how would the participant look at the event, I would say that they were treated in a very individual and personal way that would help them build an experience that hopefully would make them want to find other experiences in town again. So I think that actually addresses the quality of their experience, whether or not they would return to town to repeat something.
But I didn't think of, you just said something that I hadn't thought of before, is that people are coming for these specific experiences. I think they're probably more wine people, right? If they're coming down for a Pinot Noir challenge, they're not just coming down for a random, let's see how much we can drink on a wine walk again, right?
They're food and wine people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're the ones
That's
that are going to make the
Yeah.
restaurant reservations in advance and coming for a serious.
Well, and we know on Wine Walk Day, the feedback we've heard from restaurants is that, EVO doesn't even open that day, right?
No.
And so, because a lot of people are a mess by dinner time.
Right. So we shut it down at 5 PM and then they make their dinner plans and they've already, tasted 30 wines.
Lead into it with a wine event at Bistro and lead into, or the wine events at Seasons that they're catering or they're hosting. I mean, that's fantastic for the restaurants.
I could definitely see in the future us coming back to, especially like that Friday night wine walk in the galleries, because that one was toned down a little bit, but it still kind of overlaps with the restaurant time. Or, I think we did some fun wine pairing things when we used Tolovana Inn's rooms and did some nice wines each with the pairing. And maybe we can get back to those things. And yes, we can use the Cannon Beach School for things like that.
Right.
Sorry,
That
you asked the question.
You've heard the question a couple times now, so it was coming.
I remember, Gary, before COVID, Sabre was on the trajectory to be self-funding, where I'm going. You think maybe eventually we'll get back to that trajectory again?
The trajectory for sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you that doing a larger event in the school
Yeah.
would be much easier than doing a wine walk with 40 wineries and licensing each one and going through.
License the venue that way, yeah.
You don't want to create the Newport wine.
Exactly.
No, right, you don't want to do that.
That's,
Yeah, I don't,
I'm still, what this forced us to do is kind of reinvent it in a way that I think maybe is a nice fit.
So this chamber did not come to us with a food event, a culinary festival, right? That was.
right.
This is the only.
This is the only.
To, oh shit, we just had this meeting. It's definitely into 23.
Yep.
And they're not asking for more money because we would probably be saying no, because look how much money they've already gotten to get it planned. So I don't think there was ever a plan to come and ask for more money.
So there is going to be that event. There's going to be a,
23.
okay, a culinary event.
That's the current plan.
I will, I wanted to mention that Marcy could not make it because she's in Florida taking care of her mother. But Bob and Ray, past president of CAA and current treasurer, Bob, current treasurer of CAA, I see is logged in if you had questions for them too.
Okay, thank you.
I see a potential for bibs for a blind chowder tasting
Yes.
during Dungeness Month. Printed.
Do you have anything else for us?
I don't think so, except we've appreciated your support in making this event. Well, in making it as successful as it was and now helping us
Try it again.
kind of work it back up there.
Any other questions?
Nothing formal. You end up keeping the aluminum girder thing, Gary?
Yeah, I gotta talk to you about that.
Okay.
It would work at the school.
Absolutely would work.
Yes.
So don't cut it down.
No.
No.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Jim. All right. Tracy, Abel.
All right, Tracy.
Just go ahead. Okay.
Yes, come on up.
Okay.
Get lit again.
Yeah, please. Can we have get lit again? Tracy, can we please get this thing off the ground?
I have a friend that's wanted to
God.
come since 2020 and they're
My
like.
favorite events.
Here.
It's one of my most favorite events.
Again, that was such a weird 2 years.
It's a strange 2 years.
Yeah,
Bob and Ray.
it was, it was awful having to keep canceling. I mean, I have to say a couple things. I have it's called Shelf Awareness. Well, we are going to advertise again and it's a hefty price, but every time I've already made a commitment to them, and they've held the space. And so I'm always astonished when they come back to me when I tell them we're canceling again. And I say, we must owe you something, you've held this advertising space and they don't charge us. So,
It's nice.
so I'm definitely going to be using them to advertise.
That's right. Stick with.
So just a couple things I think you might notice on the application I have. And my committee did not want the April 14th through 16th date. And so I was able to finally reach Sarah Bunce at Surf Sand and had a long conversation with her. My concern was, as you guys know, I don't even know if it did sell, but they've been talking about selling it.
Yeah, it's gonna sell. Yeah.
But she had said that they weren't going to make any major changes, the new company coming in, and that her as salesperson and working with us, that we're going to be just fine to do that. So we settled on the April 1st date, which is the Saturday. So the dates for the event would be March 31st, April 2nd. However, watching the interviews today before I came here, I watched them online. I see that the coaster is actually having Pink Martini on April 1st. So, no, didn't he say April 2nd? No, it's April 1st. I'm sorry, 1st. Yeah. And so that just got me like, at first super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, because we had been talking about figuring out how to incorporate a show at the theater, because we wanted, we do the Sunday thing in the morning, but we thought
maybe if they had a play that afternoon, this could add, to our, and just make it more robust for our attendees. And so I don't really know how to wrap my brain around what to do. I mean, I thought maybe possibly, what if there was something where we changed our dinner to earlier? So we have a start time at 6. Our program ends at 4 with the authors, and then we just give everybody, a couple hours to enjoy the town and whatever. But I thought, gosh, what if there was something that we could do, start the dinner early, like maybe 5, that still gives them an hour, to take a break. And then we ended at 7. And that's, we would have our keynote. And then if people did want to, attend the concert, but is that like a lot? I mean, it's
Flip-flop days, can you have your keynote address on Friday?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to check with the surf sand. And I can't just cancel that dinner because that's how we pay.
Negotiate the rate.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is
So, but
do that event Friday night,
yeah,
flip-flop Friday and Saturdays.
a lot of our attendees come in late. I mean, they get here on Friday, even after our reception, for the big main event on Saturday, but possibly I don't know. I'm just gonna have to really, like I said, I just learned about it when I heard him talk about that. So I haven't even had a chance to think of how it all might.
Could you go back to the other weekend?
What?
Back to the April 14th to the,
I have to go.
otherwise we have 2 events. We have
I know.
on the same weekend, which I think we'd want to avoid.
You know why they didn't want to do April 14, 16? Somebody's schedule or something?
Yeah, part of the schedule. And the unfortunate thing is I finally got that date with Sarah.
Oh,
Luckily I haven't signed it, but it's on the contract is in the works for us. And I just had a meeting with my committee and I have to call Terry and find out, but he was charged to start calling these guys again with the exact dates. So it's kind of like, oh, you guys, we're changing the date again. I mean, I don't know. I can call him, like I said, and see if he's already reached out to these authors, and that they're already planning on that date. I don't know.
Never as easy as it.
I feel like my dates always get, if
I know.
Tyre decided to do it on my dates and I decided to do it on my dates. And I'm like, it's not my dates. It's just what I shouldn't say that it's my dates, but anyway, so other than that I do have a couple questions. With catering, with the surf sand, I was told that there is going to be that tax included on the food, but then I was also told that, and I didn't kind of take that into consideration with my budget necessarily because I didn't think about it, but I was also told that as a nonprofit, that nonprofit groups are exempt. So Jen, do you know the rule on that?
That's not, a nonprofit is not exempt. There is a situation when a nonprofit is exempt, and I think it's when you are I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Trying to remember off the top. But there's if you're a nonprofit and you're doing like a food at the farmer's market, then you were exempt. Let me find the actual.
because the Wayfair isn't taxed. They're not a nonprofit.
No, they're not the nonprofit. We would be the nonprofit paying. It's basically city giving us money for us to give it to Surf Sand for them to give it back.
Back to this.
Like,
Just write a check.
I don't know.
God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Well, we'll give you 5% more. Wow.
There you go.
Just a big tax.
So that was one of my questions.
So here's the language. Purchases from nonprofit organizations or service clubs at temporary restaurants, including food stands, booths, street concessions, and similar type operations. So it's not a nonprofit in general, it's only a nonprofit in those situations.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
Surf Santa set up a booth out in their parking lot. They boom,
Right.
it's solved.
No problem. The other thing that I was kind of noticing when I was listening to all of our groups going forward, sometimes I feel like I don't know why we're not working together better in a way. And what I mean by that is for the women's only weekend, them hiring their own video person, and yet the chamber at one time had one, and
Still do.
it's sort of like, and then somebody's paying somebody from Portland to promote, I feel like, gosh, if maybe the chamber was doing that, or if we had more help, we would all, it just feels like we're all spinning our wheels and throwing money all over the place without really having a cohesive event marketing plan. And I don't know what the answer is to that, but I mean, I definitely would love to share resources with a group, to sort of,
Years back, there was an idea raised. I don't think it was greatly discussed about an event coordinator that would actually become a contractor with the city or a city employee, which carries all of the baggage of employment and those requirements. I think it's an idea worth discussing.
Andrew?
Can I just make a suggestion? Maybe in the scoring process of grants, there could be a scoring category about how much money is being spent locally that would, give those a little extra juice rather than somebody who's hiring, contractors from outside of the region, and it's just to kind of really try to invigorate the local economy as much as we can.
Interesting.
I agree with Andrew on that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Something to consider. In your write-up on question 1, you talk about the Cannon Beach lip crawl. And I know you had done that in previous years, kind of got away from it. Do you think you're
We get away from it. We just can't call it a lit crawl.
San Francisco.
so you're still having that same event, you're just
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. It's just going to be something for attendees to be able to attend after the reception. So, some people may choose to go to dinner, some people may choose. So what we have set up previously, and I'm hoping Mindy Hartwick, who's a local author, she would be at the library, and then we would have music at McGregor's. Now, I know McGregor's is moving or has moved. So I just need to get with Chip, but he's been, every time, he's been a huge support and has said, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. It will just probably depend on the dates.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. We also,
So you're still going to have that event. Okay.
yeah. And we also, I talked to Beth Holland, and Mike Morgan about the gardens, and maybe even doing something at the garden. They don't have parking, so that's an issue there. But, there's still an opportunity for a smaller group, because that's what this is. It's a smaller group of people that are moving around. It's not the whole, all the attendees, so.
So you probably have heard the question I'm going to ask you, and that is about the Cannon Beach Elementary School and how you may be able to use that location, as part of your event. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Sam Stidel talked to me a little bit about that. And I love the idea of being able to not have to pay for catering or have to pay a huge rental somewhere for our event. But piggybacking on what Andrew said, what we really like about our event is that it is very small and intimate. And a lot of my attendees like that feeling of it not being a big cavernous, kind of like a fireside chat, more just smaller. So depending on you know, if it's using the gym and what that looks like, that's a potential. I don't know if they're in the classrooms, but I could see smaller workshops happening. We haven't really wanted to do any writing workshops. This is really our philosophy. This is a workshop for readers, even though tons of writers come to this. But I could see, you know, expanding that if there's space to use. I mean, that's the other thing. We just haven't had any real space to think where we could do some workshops either. So
sounds like an argument for a flex space construct within whatever.
Where the classrooms are. Yep.
With a kitchen.
With a kitchen, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Commercial.
yes.
Yep.
Do you have anything else for us?
I don't think so. We're really excited to do this again. All the authors except for Omar have said that they are back in. And Omar, he just wrote another book, and it actually, almost all of our authors, since the time we've canceled, now actually have new books again. So that's kind of exciting.
Really good. Yeah.
They had time to write.
Something.
We had time to write. Yeah.
And as you guys know, we are an older crowd, so our marketing is done differently, I think, than, you know, I heard about the History Center and those kind of things. That doesn't work necessarily for us, but we do have a pretty robust mailing list. And so that we can send email blasts to, we have a website, and we are pretty active on Facebook because our clientele, our age group is still very active on Facebook. They're not much of the Instagrammers, but definitely Facebook. So that's really where we put our energy into.
Anything else?
I'm so glad to have it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I just need to figure out this whole April 1st thing. That's going to be
That's your big problem.
the main thing.
And my writer friend didn't work out.
I know, I don't remember.
I didn't know if her dates worked out or not.
Yeah. I don't.
Because I think right after I put you in contact with her, I think it got canceled.
It did.
It may have just got.
So I'm probably just gonna have to get back.
You don't need anybody for this coming year.
You got a full slate. Yeah.
2024.
2023.
Yep. I mean, I say that until Omar, we don't have a final.
Okay.
There is.
Let me know your contact information.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. So
Thanks, you guys.
wow. A whole slate.
We did.
It is early.
Under your leadership, things have
How it is.
gotten so much more efficient.
I don't know about that, but first of all, thank you, Jennifer, for suggesting
Jen.
hey
Yeah, that's great.
days. Now we're through it. Yes.
Gallery group,
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No gallery group.
Gallery group. I mean, that cuts it down by
That's it, down.
several.
Yeah.
The 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, it also helps that we didn't really have anything new,
Right.
where we had a lot of questions
Right.
that were, you know, most of the stuff we've already sort
We've
of
done it once.
talked through at least once, so.
So looking at the schedule,
Oh, yep. Jen, next week.
next week, 1:00 here
27th.
to go through
That's when we bring our numbers.
That's money.
your numbers.
Okay, so we propose what we would,
Yes.
What we
So we
think.
have their,
Spreadsheet from Jennifer in
Jen,
your
yeah.
email box.
okay.
Annual, she's gonna give us last year's.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, Jen.
So we've got the ask and the grant, or at least last,
And then there's a PDF for people who want to Excel, and then there's an Excel for people who like Excel.
okay.
They're both on there.
Thank you.
and then we'll go through this and
Thank you.
each one of us will give our funding.
Okay,
And then what we do is we will fund to what the average, and we'll have discussions about it too.
okay.
And then we'll have fund to the consensus. Yeah, that's how it'll go.
I know
So-
last meeting, we talked about the fact that COVID kind of allowed for a bucket an extra reserve, excuse me, thank you. So when we're looking at available funding of the 481,000.
Do you know what our current reserve is right now?
Well, we have 481,000.
250.
But the grant requests are three,
Wow.
In our
Yeah,
account
right
right now.
Yeah,
That's what the budget amount is.
Okay,
and the requests are 313.
so we are back to having a reserve.
Yes.
In spite of the fact that we gave out all the
So
reserve.
we can save up to buy a school. Oh, wait, we're not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tracy didn't have her event.
Right.
Andrew didn't have her event.
Money back.
I think Coaster gave some money back.
Yep,
too.
yep,
Right.
So we definitely, and the room tax has been,
amazing.
Yeah.
so.
been great.
And from.
The city borrowed money from us.
They did.
Back.
They paid it back.
Okay.
102,000.
So this is, that number is what's.
Do we get interest?
281.
So two questions from the rookie over, the newbie is one, do you guys typically grant at the maximum request?
Not.
Does it vary
Yeah.
year to year?
It's highly opinionated and
Okay,
there is, we don't have a policy.
okay,
We do have a policy of limiting over granting to a certain percentage.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did we go, we went through that with
Yes.
Mike Morgan years. Did we?
Right.
What did
Right.
we, what's the
decided,
policy?
I thought we decided we would not grant anything over
Over.
what they asked.
ask for, okay.
Right.
Yeah, you can make recommendations to them to do things.
Correct.
You can't grant more than what they ask. for.
Okay, good. We did
You
decide.
can't
We
play
did
the
decide.
system.
Right.
And knowing that we saw a substantial peak in lodging tax during COVID and, I mean, during the local travel, I would assume. If the current economy dips and maybe we don't see the maximum, are we inclined?
Like a reserve.
We have a reserve fund, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
But the other side of that coin is that when things slow down,
We'll
we want to
travel.
get, we want to get more people.
yes, exactly.
Right.
The far travel goes away. Is that when we're pulling from and do marketing strategies?
Tragedies,
Tragedies, well, hopefully not that, but okay. Okay, so that helps me kind of get my foot.
You fill in what you think is right.
Okay.
Then we.
And then we'll
discuss.
talk about it.
Then we'll,
We've all gone up and down after being persuaded otherwise.
Yes.
That's what the discussion is for. So don't feel bad if you come in and say $10,000 for everybody and we convince you otherwise, or maybe you sit and go,
I'm used to that. And I've been in this format with 20 people before, so I can appreciate a smaller group.
People always try to run you up, so don't let him. He bullies people all the time.
Now that we've got the grant and the ask data, can I also maybe suggest that maybe in a proposal ongoing, I'd like to see the written itinerary, because we're talking about. I would like to see,
Schedule.
is it a Friday, their schedule of events, where,
Useful, actually.
Sometimes it's so far out.
yeah.
that they don't know
Right, but they could at least give us an expected.
and expect
Well,
them.
that's on the spreadsheet.
Oh, boy. Oh, it's got the
What's on the
dates. The
spreadsheet?
dates
Oh,
are on the
the
spread.
dates.
Yeah, dates of the event are.
No, but no,
But we're talking about hotels
Yeah.
and, if we do have, that might line up too, if we have different events.
welcome social at
Yeah.
6:00 at such and such location.
Hopefully there should be no overlaps. The only weird one is this last
This-
one that just
And
happened.
that leads to my last thing too. Is there a master calendar for the city for events? Does that exist?
The city itself only does city events themselves.
Yeah.
So there's no master one for any of the tech.
So that's where I'm like.
The
can
chamber.
Yeah.
the city-
Coordination.
I would like to see
Be nice to have a calendar.
a combo calendar. And when I say city,
wouldn't miss.
yes, including city events, but. And then how do you, I mean, if something like this, is there subcategories of a main event and a tier 2 event and,
Well, here's my thought on what happened here.
yeah.
They should be talking to each other.
Well, and that's part of the problem is
They
none of
should-
them are talking, I mean,
They
some
should
of
be
them are talking,
deconflicting dates before they hear it.
yeah.
And yeah,
That's, I mean, well, that's hard for poor Patrick. He's got to book Pink Martini for God's sake.
Yeah.
well, when he can get them,
Yeah,
Right?
when he can get them.
you get them, yeah.
Right. Because we're gonna be tough.
And get choices.
Discussion.
And how would he know that Tracy actually had 2 dates on her ass? She wasn't even firmed up when she put this.
Right, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, and she's still not firmed up, right?
No, now.
At least they can talk, they should talk and say, hey, we usually fall at the same time as you or around you, Fat Bike, Savor, Get Lit, you know, what.
But what if you're?
Coaster may have been a surprise to her because, you
Yeah.
know, she doesn't usually have an event at that.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that is.
But still,
But what if you're a newbie trying to start an event and you're trying to cherry pick a date out of the wind, you know?
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm like,
And the other part with Get Lit has been poor Get Lit.
they've been
oh, yeah, they got
jerked around.
Pulled around, and part of the problem is not us, it's the surf sand. Who feels free to break their contract with them, which they did a few years back,
Within.
because they had a paying customer.
Right.
And so they just said, yeah, we're not gonna allow you to do this.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are this second weekend in May.
Yeah.
Because she's never been able to nail it down because she's so dependent on the ballroom.
back to the
And
school.
That, right, the school may be the answer to their,
And make it more intimate in some way. I was trying to sit in there, she was saying that, it's like, wonder if there's a way to bring the ceiling down, curtains,
you go to Liberty.
type and drape. I don't know, but I get why she likes it intimate. I've been in that ballroom and I get
Right.
how it's nice, and the school's not gonna be as nice.
But unless we build out flex space
Back
for
to,
the classroom,
have to build
that could be really
flex
nice.
space.
That could be
It's
really
gotta be
useful
in the art
classroom.
plans.
The architect's thing, when he was here the other night, it was all about flexibility.
Yeah, that's
that's
a great idea. Small to
All
large.
about Flexibility.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to accommodate everything.
Yeah.
You got the college, you got the
Different
big ones,
Yep,
you got the sports people, and so that was, you probably said the word flexibility 20 times.
good. That's on their mind. That's really good.
you remind me who the architect is.
CIDA Architects,
Okay.
CIDA.
Yeah.
Hey, so Jen, if I was a to her point, if I was a brand new, trying a new event, I don't know any of these other heads of these other, can you go to you and say, here's a list of the contacts for all the,
Yep, I would.
because that would be useful for someone starting out.
I mean,
If somebody called, I would say, hey, all this information's on their website.
Okay.
It's from past
Okay.
meetings. I would
So-
tell them the date.
Name of the head and a phone number to reach somebody, like,
Yeah, all the applications are on.
okay. Well, that would be useful.
They fit to it.
To your point,
Yeah.
I'd be able to at least reach out to people.
yeah, but it almost seems like, aren't we at the point where things should just be locked and loaded and on repeat?
No.
No.
It never seems to be, it never,
The last 2 years have blown that up.
Well, minus the last two.
No, but even then, it was like, you
It
could
wasn't
get
really that-
applications for new events.
Yeah.
Events for, the yoga festival disappeared. It's not always the same, which is why we do this
Yeah,
all the time,
Yeah.
because you never know what's gonna, the gallery group is gone.
yeah.
They're not gonna do it anymore. They're not gonna do it this year, I should say, Jim. Because who knows what happens next year, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just a moving forward, it's gonna be always the same,
Okay.
so.
Thank you for putting it all in perspective because it's,
And even, my own business, we put on a unique event this year, only the first time. There was a secondary event happening in town on the same
Yeah.
day, which was called Sandcastle.
yes.
yeah.
Secondary event.
On a beautiful.
I like your thinking. Secondary event. Oh, they're moving to the Cannon Beach Hotel. Kitty corner,
That's what. they-
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, it's
that's
and
what's
he's
going on.
attempting to sell at the same time.
Okay.
3:40 and we are adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.